Why? Hold on. No, that's not what's supposed to happen. Good evening! Hi! That was the sound again. That wasn't what I wanted to do. How are you? Oh, 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 oh! Accidentally hitting my mic. This is fine. This is great. I want that to happen. Love bonk. I'm sorry. Hello. Righty. It is another cafe game. Apparently, I like playing my cafe games for some reason. I don't know what this one is about though. Is this 3D? Yeah, I think it has 3D models and stuff. I think it's made in Unity or something, so I am already very scared of lag. But it will hopefully work out. How's the sound, by the way? There's no voice acting in this, so I'm going to read out the text and everything, but the music is pretty loud. Hi, hello, reading time. Sound seems fine. Yes, reading time. Kind of. It's a mix. It's tagged as visual novel and point and click. So my favorite two things in one. So I'm very much looking forward to what this game entails. I think it doesn't really have. I don't know. Honestly, I didn't read up too much on it because I didn't want to get spoiled. Also, I turned off my cursor. I don't know. Maybe I'll turn it on if it's better. I no clue. I'm going into this completely blind. This time, hopefully, with more coffee making. Maybe. I mean, there's definitely a coffee on that machine. Wait, I'll turn on my cursor so you can see where I mean. There we go. Here. There's definitely a coffee being made here. So it already looks more promising in terms of actually doing what you're supposed to when you run a cafe. But we shall find out. I don't actually want to continue. I would like to start from the beginning. I just tried. There we go. I just tried to see how the game runs earlier. So let us go. I have my reading glasses on now. No, no, no. Am I supposed to click? Ah. They thought of the faraway grave on the plain. They thought of the comrade who came not again. They lifted their glasses and sadly they said, "We drink to the name of the maid who is dead. Henry Lawson." It's so bloody damp down here. I know we're in a cellar, but I don't suppose you have a window we could open or anything? Yeah, we've got a vent that leads outside somewhere. Maddie, can you open it up? Get some fresh air coming through. I'm pretty sure it's got a dumpster or something sitting on top of it right now. Oh, if I move... Ooh, that is funky. Besides, I'm busy. Just grin and bear it. I turned the text to immediately show up. Because I get irrationally angry when the text is just comes in slowly. Can we get this over with? We've done this before, old man. You know it takes a while to set up. Calm your farm. I do not appreciate your tone. Sorry. Can we get some more lights on, maybe? With all the crap you've got scattered around the place, I'd like to at least know where I'm putting my feet. Ashley, would you mind? Am I Ashley? Am I supposed to click? Ooh. Ooh. I click the ooh. Okay, cool. What's happening? Thanks. You're more organized than last time, I see. Practice makes perfect. Hey, Maddie. How much more wire do we need? I think that's enough. Great. Now, Che? What's up, little P? I found you a chair. Oh, thank you. Okay. So, this whole thing, surely it's not legal, yeah? Maddie wasn't clear on that. Yes, the council found it confronting. For good reason, I suppose. Because it utterly upsets the natural order, mate. It's not just bureaucracy. Shush you. Most rules can be banned after all. And Maddie has a particular fascination with breaking rules, as I'm sure you've realized. Hey, don't give her all the credit. Ah. Is this related to her gambling for time? So, the transfer. That's the same sort of magic we're doing now, yes? Small scale, though. Doing it on a larger scale requires a bit more preparation. The council successfully suppressed all available information about it, though. For good reason. What happens if something goes wrong? Well, you don't tend to mess it up more than once. Or try it again after you fail, for that matter. Stubborn scholars notwithstanding. What do you even call this sort of magic, then? Wait! Question's irrelevant. Because it's banned. Badass? I call it badass. Well, by definition it's a conduit ritual. But looking past all the smoke and mirrors and fancy names, you can just call it... What? Ooh! Oh wait, let me take a screenshot. Ooh, you are pretty. Necromancy! I see, I guess that's where the necro in Necrobarista comes from. Okay. Are we awakening some dead people? Is that what we do in this cafe? From your hazy memories, a certain word calls out to you. Necromancy. Oh, you try desperately to remember what it meant. Necromancy. Yeah. This fragment of a memory stays with you. Piece together the past. Remember what transpired. And never forget. You are dead. Scattered. Practice. Fascination. Wow. Wow. I can't read all that. Okay. Okay. Sounds fun. Ooh. Ooh, I can walk? Ah. Ah. I can walk in this game. Oh, fun. Oh, fun. Oh. Okay, where do I go? We shoot it now. I guess that's the only place that looks like we're supposed to. Ooh, terminal house rules. Ding! Maddie's rules. Welcome both living and dead. Patrons will be served in the order In the order the. In the order the. 1. Unlock. Read. Oh. Maddie's rules. 1. We welcome both living and dead. Patrons will be served in the order they arrived. 2. Don't ask who's alive. If someone wants you to know, they tell you. 3. The dead have 24 hours. Strictly enforced. 24 hours and 5 minutes is not 24 hours. No, we don't have Wi-Fi. Yes, there's no cell reception. Ether and radio signals don't play nice together. 5. Report broken items and other anomalies to staff. We can't clean up your broken glass or spatial rift if we don't know about it. 6. Don't feed the eidolons. What's that? What's an eidolon? What? They can't eat, and offering them food just reminds them of that cruel fact. Aww. Can I do anything else, or am I just supposed to go into the cafe? Okay, yeah, not. Oh, we can go in. Hi. Hello. What? Hello. Can I? Wee. Continue. Yeah. I guess. Oh. Part 1. There's drinks being made. No way. Oh wait, do I do anything? Do I click it? Ah. Oh. The terminal. Carlton, Victoria, Australia 3053. Excerpts from online reviews. Pretty unremarkable coffee. Barista speaks Chinese but exclusively uses it to mock people to their faces. I am very self-conscious about my top hat now. Observed little girl running around cafe with knife, unsupervised. What you got there? A knife! Yep, it is lagging. Great. Lovely. I hate it. I'm sorry, game. You cannot look as pretty as you possibly could because my computer is... Is this streamer extraordinaire new channel? Maybe. More like leggy extraordinaire. Oh god. Help. Very funny new. I know. I am incredibly funny. Can I close anything so this will run better? Maybe. Yes. Yes, thank you. It's great. No, never mind. As soon as I tap back into the game, it's worse. I love it. Absolutely lovely. I don't want to set the game too low. I mean, come on. This is lovely. Lovely. I love it. Whee! mean, in this game, there's not much happening in the game either, so like... That's the level someone staring there that came to the abyss. I mean, didn't I turn it to 30 FPS? I thought I did that already. Because I have the same problem every time. Didn't I do that? Twitch gives you 60 FPS. Oh, I see. Yeah, as soon as I tap back into the game, it just goes to shit. Well, let's just, I don't know, try it. What is this? Very professional streaming going on. I am so sorry. But it turned like everything down already. Skipped frames detected. Yes, I can see that, Twitch. Thank you. I am aware. I am aware that's happening. I am aware. I don't even know where I would set it. 230, not gonna lie. Wing. 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 Nope. Goes to shit immediately when I tap back in. Okay. Great. Game is going to look absolutely horrible. And it's not even helping. Yeez. I'm just watching myself blink. Absolutely delayed. It's lovely. Lovely. I mean, come on, this game doesn't even do that much, right? Never mind, it's completely killing my CPU, but like, come on! I'm using OBS now, I'm using Streamlabs OBS. Though they're not that different, I think. Wah. Ah, there's the FPS. Never mind, I found them. Okay, 1 second. Let's see. Let's see if that's any better. Maybe. Maybe I will tap back into the game. No. Great. That's just great. I just want to observe the little girl that apparently has a knife. Wait. 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 Huh! Oh no. Absolutely killing it here tonight. Oh, now you have what? No, I put 30 FPS. What do you mean? No, that's even worse. Oh my. Eh? Why? Twitch, why are you like this? I put 30 FPS in. What do you mean? It's now at... No. No. That's just great. Meh. Why? I'm just gonna enjoy the very nice background music at least. So how's your day going? You don't really... Yeah, it's fine. I should be the one to look into this, not you. Whenever I test it, all works fine, but as soon as I go to stream, it's like, no. And I don't know why. Dynamically change bitrate. Okay, I'm gonna try one more thing. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna try one more thing and restart it. Because this is just a tad annoying. Just a tad. Alrighty. Nope. I guess the game just doesn't like me. Which is kind of sad, you know? It's not even that big of a game, I think. I've already set it to low. Maybe it's better if it's not in full screen. It's 720 now, but somehow lags more. Great. Great. That's great. And I can't even tell you why. Like, my GPU is not even that... No, it's the game. I tap out of the game and it immediately works, right? Like, Look at this now. It's fine. It's fine now. It's just a game. Is the game secretly super intensive? I don't know. It shouldn't be. Like, I think it's made in Unity or something. Let me check. And no, I don't want to give the game back. I want to know why it makes my computer all laggy. I don't want to give it back, Steam, please. I want to know why it is the way it is. Those are funny numbers. That's not much. Yeah, it shouldn't. Shouldn't. How optimized is the game? The menu's done, but the gameplay runs pretty smooth. Never-ending load screen. We're just playing, scan that's going off. Okay. Yeah, apparently there's a bunch of people who are saying that they have these problems and they're just playing it themselves. Horrible. Horrible! Meh. Meh. Should we make this the second stream where I just switch games? Because this is not working out. This is not working out. I managed to make it work for Portal, but like... this isn't going well. I want to show you guys this game because it looks so interesting. Maybe there's some intensive settings to it, but like there's no other settings in this game I can do. I have enough games I could play, no worries. I have so many games. I have so many games, no worries. We can... it's fine, we can play something else. It's fine. Couldn't be shot if he's encoded. At least not somewhere where I can see it immediately, so like... no. No, I don't think so. Alright. Alright. Let's play something else then. Yes, thank you, Duolingo. I know. Every single day I stream, I forget about Duolingo. Yeah. This is fine. Are any of you guys interested in Steins Gate? Duolingo stream? No. And you will all see how I'm not keeping up with my Japanese. No. Can I interest anyone in Steins Gate? But like... the updated Steins Gate. Never mind. Never mind. I don't have it installed. Damn it. I thought I had it installed. No. We'll play something else then. We will play Okay, no, I know something else we could play. That game should be good for... Oops. For stream as well. Shouldn't be something 16 plus, 18 plus. It's definitely not 18 plus. That's great. This is great. I am very, very good and professional stream. Alright. We are going to play a visual novel though. Because this is the slot for visual noveling. So I would like to put a visual novel in its slot. If I can't play the other thing. Beep 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 beep. Oh, I start the game immediately and unlock an achievement. That's nice. Oh god, and it's loud as hell. As always. Oh no. Oh no, that is too many sounds. Oh no. No! Help! Help, help, help. Reading time, reading time. Are you planning to upgrade your PC? I thought my PC was very much fine. But since it apparently isn't, I guess the next thing I should do is upgrade it. I'm not quite sure what to upgrade it to though. Or like what can I upgrade? It should be fine. Well, apparently it isn't. Oh. Oh, why is the game not showing up? There it is. Maybe just a bit of fiddling with OBS. Not like that's any news, yeah. Alrighty. Wait for voice during auto forward. Message windows transparency. Okay. Is this game loud or is it... Okay, voices are a bit... Okay. Good. Great. Great. Oh no. No, those SFX are too loud for me. No. Absolutely not. Mwah. Ta-da! I think I know what this game is. Then you know more than me. I don't know what this game is. Except that it's a visual novel. And apparently... Fatal 12. Oh, you read it recently! Ah! Then you already know what's going to happen. I know nothing about this game. I know nothing. It has cards? It does? Could be. Yeah. Could be. It definitely has choices. So that's going to be fun. Cards to play a role of some kind. Oh, you meant the you meant those cards. I was like, oh, it's Steam cards? I don't know, maybe. Whoops. Yeah, apparently it has cards. Alright. Alright, reading time then. Reading time. Reading time. Hopefully less laggy time. No DC. Okay. No! Why isn't that immediate? No. No. Also, why... Settings. Unread message speed also immediately. I hate it if it's not immediate. There are a number of terms used to describe a sequence of events that lead to a specific outcome. Some call it life, others call it a story. One is responsible for much during the sequence, such as choices picked, relationships built, and mistakes made. All of that is for the sake of proceeding along a predetermined path. That is the natural order of a world ruled by the concept of fate. Fate never strays from its course, regardless of how cruel it may be. My life and the events in it thus far is simply the product of fate leading me to a certain outcome. That's why I've never once given thought to any missed possible... That is loud. To any missed possibilities found along this path. My life has never been anything worth talking about in the first place. I've never had the luxury of considering the what-ifs. The game is still in the title. What? Huh? What? What's going on tonight? What is going on tonight? Yeah, it's only... No, it's only updating whenever I tap out. It's not updating this... See? What the hell is going on? There we go. Now it's working. Okay. Tonight is a train wreck. Absolutely. Okay, let's start from the beginning once more. Now you can actually see the text. Wow. Okay. There are a number of terms used to describe a sequence of events that lead to a specific outcome. Some call it life, others call it a story. Please work. Excuse me. One is responsible for much during the sequence, such as choices picked, relationships built, and mistakes made. All of that is for the sake of proceeding along a predetermined path. That's the natural order of a world ruled by the concept of fate. Fate never strays from its course, regardless of how cruel it may be. My life and the events in it thus far are simply the product of fate leading me to a certain outcome. That's why I've never once given thought to any missed possibilities found along this path. My life has never been anything worth talking about in the first place. I've never had the luxury of considering the what-ifs. After all, I've convinced myself life is no do-overs. Once the story ends, that's it. Oh. Oh, okay. That's one way to look at life. My name is Shishima Irinka. I'm a second year at Amateur Girls University High School, a rather famous all-girls school in a big city. And I have the hiccups. Welcome to my stream. Unlike my middle school, which has a hodgepodge of top students and those who barely showed up for class, this is the realm of refined, wealthy ladies. They probably greet each other with "gokigenyo." A realm I clearly don't belong in. In fact, they wasted no time labeling me as a delinquent of sorts. One reason, really the main reason, is the golden streaks in my hair. However, it's my natural hair color, so the school itself has no issue with it. Not like I get hassled for it either, it's just a bit too out there for these sheltered students. The main reason I chose amateur was because it didn't seem to have many regulations in regards to appearance. It turned out they just didn't list anything due to its unspoken rules based on being a traditional school. Great. I was pretty pissed off when I got treated like a delinquent despite having not broken any rules at the time. Fewer than 3 months later, I've stopped caring. Much like how I have my own values, the girls here have theirs. I can't understand their viewpoint, so it's only natural they can't understand mine. To tell the truth, I'm pretty content with making no effort to look at life from another's point of view. That is, until a certain event causes a massive change in my life. It all starts on a certain day before Golden Week. Oh no. Oh no, Golden Week. Oh no. Oh god, that's a train! I was like, what is that noise? It's Vice! It's Vice! I have been to that line, I think. I relay my observation to Naomi as we pass through the ticket gate.
駅の時計が止まってるなんて珍しいのに。
They're both really cute.
だよね。あ、ごめん。ナオミの話遮っちゃったよね。何の話だっけ？あれですよ、あれ。私も忘れちゃいました。
Great. This is Hichiji Naomi, a first year at Amicha. You might assume that I know her from club activities or something like the student council, but it was coincidence that brought us together. She may be my junior, but I simply see her as a friend because age difference doesn't matter much to me. That is nice. We're heading back to my place right now, making our way to the station platform to wait for the train. Oh!
ちょっと。
She yelps as she trips. I had some. Did I ever mention that I have problems with several S sounds right in a row? Now you know. As she trips over nothing but air. Fortunately, I snag her hand and keep her from falling on her face. Well, she tucks me forward in the process because she's a bit taller than me, but she manages to regain her balance quick. It's fine, you're very cute.
別に謝ることじゃないわ。ありがとうございます。それもなんか大げさ。
I'm not sure if it's due to her meek nature or not, but Naomi tends to trip herself up pretty often. She's the kind of girl you look at and suddenly feel an inexplicable urge to protect.
それで。
Oh no, look at her, she does the little hands.
どうしたの？
No, we're going to hold hands forever. Oops, I forgot to let go of her hand after catching her.
あ、ごめん。痛かった？
It's an all-girls school, so there's probably going to be some gay girls in this. Wink. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Or am I just too hopeful? She casts her eyes downward as she answers. Maybe I squeezed a bit too tight without realizing it. I let go with an apologetic expression. You have really wide hips. She fixes her glasses, which had become askew after tripping, and then points toward the platform with haste. Situations like this typically lead to a replay of the events from just a minute ago. Oh. You're not going to say anything, okay. So there's gay girls in this. She bumps right into a passerby the moment she starts to walk toward the platform. Even worse, it causes them both to topple over. Oh no!
ごめんなさい。私の後輩が。
I make my way over as they get back to their feet. She bumped into what seems to be a young girl. She's about the same height as me, but her face is definitely younger. Sometimes Naomi gets mistaken for a middle schooler thanks to her big round eyes, but that's not the case with this girl. Girl, question mark. Oh, why do we have a key?
大丈夫かな?
It's a very pretty design. I love the eyes. I notice how pallid her eyes are when I try to speak to her. Her hair's pure white, but mostly obscured by her hat. She definitely looks young, but her facial features stand out more than your average person's. Safe to assume that she's a foreigner then. That means her hair isn't dyed either. Are you okay? Unlike Naomi, this girl has fallen backward. Since Naomi bumped into the girl's back, you'd think she would have fallen face first, but she quickly spun around while falling. Not only that, but she also made sure to cradle the bag that was on her back. Based on its size, I guess she's here on a vacation. Chances are she's carrying something fragile in there like a camera. She's by herself too, so I'm assuming she came in with her family and has somehow gotten lost. Wow, you're assuming a lot of things! The poor thing hasn't even said a thing yet. What I think is a key on her bag at first is actually just a keychain. She hops back to her feet, bag in hand, her glare drilling into me.
Naomi, ほら、ちゃんと謝らないと。
She seems a bit too panicked to get up on her own, so I lend her my hand once again.
本当にごめんなさい。あれ、外国の人?
Certainly not many characters have these signs like her. Yeah.
こういう時は、sorry?
Sorry?
Naomi, とりあえず落ち着きなって。
I mean, maybe she does speak Japanese. She offers nothing beyond an empty stare as Naomi apologizes and bows her head. She seems like she wants to say something, but for whatever reason opts not to. Eventually, she runs off toward the platform without making it clear whether or not she understood our apology. She spins around to face us one more time, but I get the feeling that she's locking eyes with me, not Naomi. It's funny. Thanks to her unique appearance, she still stands out in the crowd. Then again, my hair causes me to stand out as well, so that's probably how she spots me so quickly. In the end, I'm not able to tell if she finds her parents or if she actually has come here all alone.
ごめんなさい。私に謝っても仕方ないって。ま、あの子にもちゃんと謝ったし、怪我もしてないみたいだから大丈夫じゃないかな。とはいえ、気をつけなね。ナオミはいつも焦りすぎなんだから。はい、石橋を叩いて壊すくらいに慎重に。
No, if you use too much caution with each and every step, you're just going to fall down more.
それ、意識しすぎて絶対転ぶ。
Like, oh, I won't trip now. I will be very careful not to trip.
あの子、見えなくなった。さっきの男の子。どうかしたんですか?
Wait, we have almost the same eyes and hair. And we both have glasses. Ha ha!
男の子? いや、女の子じゃなかった? あれ? でも、綺麗な顔立ちだったから、女の子って言われても。
Does it really matter?
また失礼なことを。
The sound of an approaching train rises as our conversation falls, much like Naomi. We make our way over to the platform. Yeah, I think twice was enough. We make our way onto the train bound for Shinjuku, having largely forgotten about the person Naomi bumped into. That's not going to be the last time we see them. We board the next train at Otsuka Station. My place isn't far from there. We first have to get off at Shinjuku Station before taking the metro for 2 more stations. The only issue is that we're making this journey at 5 PM, pretty much rush hour, so the trains are packed. Naomi and I get practically glued together on our journey to Shinjuku. 5 PM trains are horrible.
いや、ナオミが謝ることじゃないし。 私だって慣れっこだから気にしなくていいよ。
I love the katunk katunk sound of the trains.
すみません。
Say sorry one more time.
ってあれ、そこにあるのって。
I spy a familiar bag from amongst the crowd. Well, the bag itself is standard, so it's actually the keychain that catches my eye. Yep, it's the kid from earlier. Standing right in the middle of the passenger car, bag hugged tight against their chest. Ha! Nice! Nice! They're not tall enough to reach the overhead straps, but I doubt they fall over thanks to how cramped it is. It's the little things that make me really happy.
どうしたんですか? あれ? あの子、リュック開いちゃってるな。
The strap is probably unfastened a bit due to the people rubbing against it on a train. I'm just worried because the kid doesn't seem to have noticed. The other passengers probably don't care enough to notice either. Some are reading newspapers, others killing time by checking out all the ads, but most on their phones. I doubt I would have noticed if Naomi hadn't bumped into them. And that's why I'm the only one to see what they're doing, with a deadly serious expression, almost as if they are being squashed by incredible pressure. Something black is peeking out of the bag. It looks mechanical, but different from a camera or laptop. For whatever reason, my mind leaps to a conclusion that I've only read in fiction. Before I can finish, it happens. A flash emits out of the bag.
Naomi!
Oh shit. The detonation is almost instantaneous. A wave of heat propels throughout the train car, enough to feel like my skin is being seared off. A sharp explosive roar comes right after, puncturing my eardrums. I duck in front of Naomi to protect her and then push her away. I feel my body being pushed by the explosive shockwave too, and in that moment my body is burnt beyond repair within the flames. Okay! Game over, we're dead! Yikes. However, my consciousness remains intact. I hear a voice. I don't feel anything anymore. Vivid memories pulse through me. The shockwave, the pain, the heat searing through my body, and yet I no longer feel any of it. My consciousness begins to fade, or maybe I've already lost it. This is but a remnant of it before it fades away completely. The final fleeting moments of her consciousness drown in a sea of fire. My sight gradually fades too. No doubt my consciousness will be spirited away like a leaf in a gust of wind. If nothing else, being able to hear that voice puts me at ease. Okay. There's no arguing that fate has decided to end my life here and now. Did it? Did it end though? Are you dead? No. Oh, that's the opening. Ha! Is that card Captain Sakura? Oh. Fatal 12. I do not know any of these people. Ooh. Coffee! Coffee again! I want to live. Coffee's important. I guess I'm not allowed to play games that don't include coffee anymore. Oh no, why is she crying? Don't cry. Localization secretary. Ah, right, secretary broke down on that. Ooh, I like it. I like it. So what's this going to be? We try to change our fate? I hear two voices calling out to me. I know who they belong to without even seeing their faces. A sharp pain rushes through my forehead, causing me to finally lift my face off my arms. No doubt this will sting for a while. Ahaha, do we get time travel powers now? Oh no. Oh no! The one responsible for waking me up is Oguma Mao, a classmate. As usual, she's got her wildly colored hair tied up nice and neat into pigtails. Besides her is Naomi, and seeing how they're still in their uniforms, I guess we just got back from school. We're at Lion House, a cafe run by my grandmother. The first floor serves as the cafe, while the second floor serves as her home. Since I'm living with her, my room's also on the second floor, although it's probably more accurate to say I'm living on my own right now, considering she's gone off to the countryside to help nurse an ailing relative. It's all a dream, everything has been a lie. Let's have a fun slice of life adventure with no serious stuff. Yeah, no serious stuff happening, no. Oh, she clicks her mechanical pencil and presses it against my cheek before scribbling all over me. No! Hi, hello, thank you for the follow! Ouch! Naomi is visibly disturbed by how much Mao seems to have enjoyed doing that. Well, it certainly has helped to wake me up. A lingering issue of it is that I can't remember why we're here.
で、ごめん。今って
I don't know,
何
you're
してたっけ
probably studying.
まだ起きてないの
Yo, like jazz? Sure, I like jazz.
夢を見たせいか。なんかぼーっとしちゃって。
Something about the weird gold stuff next to her head is making me nervous. Like, she's using some kind of powers she's not aware of, I guess. Yet, maybe. I don't know. And there's the weird gold stuff around her. I can't remember what I even dreamt about. I mentioned a fire when I woke up, but I don't recall being involved in one. Can you ask a semi-personal question? Well, that depends on the question, but sure. I guess. Go for it. The fact that I can't remember is starting to annoy me. Don't call me a weirdo! Naomi interjects after I fire glare at Mao. You like chocolate or strawberry milk better? If so, I like it all. I like chalky milk better. And I drink it cold most of the time, if I do get it. Because most strawberry milk is very synthetic most of the time, sadly. Even though I like strawberry taste a lot. Tells me a lot about you, okay. Ah yes, cafes everywhere we go. She's making no attempt to hide the fact that she's been forced into it. Also, thank you for the idle time. Granted, she's probably the most fit for the job considering how serious and thorough she is when it comes to this stuff. I always know you like a brother. Explanation helps me grasp the situation. I mean, yeah, observing a real cafe would probably help if you want to make a little one for your stall at the school event. The store is only open for the regulars right now since my grandmother's away. Sometimes we get a first time or two, but I've only got simple stuff on the menu for now so I can handle things on my own. It doesn't get really busy, so there's no issue in inviting her along. Okay. My bones are cracking. Time for me to go make coffee. Unrelated to what the game is doing, I just want one. You do that. Get yourself a nice coffee. Man. Oh, never mind. They also have the funny gold stuff around them. Maybe it's just how they draw the sun. Or like the lightning in the room. Lightning? Coffee. Yuki strawberry microots. She's tagging along for the ride. Lightning is deadly. Yeah, I always, every time, I'm like, wait. One of them is when it's outside and it's a storm and everything with thunder, yeah. Thunder and lightning. Yeah, no, that adds up. Why is my mind like this? Ah, hiccup. So the classic stuff, yeah. Oh, we don't really care about how it goes. Oh, why are you not popular? Because your hair's dyed?
だからってわけじゃないけど、ナオミの手伝いならするよ。私は店番あるからできる限りになっちゃうけどね。
Yay, we're a bunch of misfits. Woo!
はい、ありがとうございます。
She's not struggling to hide her concern. After hearing that, she probably thinks we're being bullied. We're used to how we're treated though. It's not like they're going out of their way to ignore us, they'd just rather avoid us whenever possible, so... they're ignoring you! It's funny though, Mao still gets along with plenty of the girls and I'm pretty sure no one outright dislikes me. It might be more accurate to say they try not to get too involved in our lives. They understand that we're different, so it creates a rift between us. Speaking of different, we're not the only two. Mishima Miharu, who's probably at work right now, is our comrade in that regard.
ピータン、アイスカフェラテちょうだい。うちはラテはないの。カフェオレならあるよ。
カフェオレ。
じゃあそれで。いいけど、マオにはちゃんとお代を払ってもらうからね。いらね、水で。
If it's not for free, I don't want it.
たく、仕方ないな。一杯だけおごり、店のね。ナオミは何がいい？いいんですか？もらえるときにもらっときなよ。ピータン、普
I'd
段
like
い
to
つ
set
だ
my
から。
few friends in school the same.
じゃあ、ホットコーヒーをいただけますか？はい。ちょっと待っててね。
Just hanging with your small crowd of people you like, that's enough. I don't need to know the whole school or even get along with the whole school. Ooh! She has a nice apron. I make my way to the kitchen, wash my hands and don my apron. You're pro the moment you enter the kitchen. That's what my grandmother always tells me and I believe it. I may be making these for friends, but it's no excuse to do it half-hearted. That's even more of a reason to make them good, right? There she goes! She's making coffee! Anyone who orders a black coffee gets a nice serving of full city Guatemalan beans. Full city is a roasting method used to reduce the acidic tones of the beans and make them more bitter. Beans from Guatemala are typically more acidic than others, so this kind of full roast is the perfect way to balance their acidity and bitterness. I prepare the siphon before placing the flask on an alcohol lamp. The key here is making sure the flame is positioned just a touch to the side of the middle of the flask. Once it starts boiling, I shake it gently and then wait for the beans to fall. Once they're all in the flask, it's just a matter of letting them sit until they become fragrant.
はい、ナオミ、お待たせ。すごい。いい香りがここまでします。
I wish I liked coffee. Like, I can't imagine not trying a bunch of different coffees and blends is actually really nice, but I just don't like the taste. Naomi's comment makes me happy, but I've still got a long ways to go. My grandmother knows how to apply different brewing methods based on a bean type, for example. All I'm doing now is applying her instructions to make things easier for me. There's still plenty to learn. Alright, next up is Mao's iced latte. Wow, we even get different CGs for her making just these two drinks. That's great. Did you finish the entire game? Yeah, no. This way you get to see the coffee's black and the milk's white mixed together in the glass. Once that's done, I jam a straw in it and walk it over to Mao with some syrup. Here you go. Well, that's voice, never mind. I make myself some coffee after that, take off my apron, wash my hands and return to my seat. I really am just going from one cafe game to another, like... Even though we switched to this one, like... Just because... The other one obviously wasn't working out, the one I originally planned on doing was a cafe. This has a cafe. No. Mao dumps half of the syrup into the cup before even giving it a taste and then pours in the remaining half. Hearing the ice clink as she stirs it is nice and satisfying. Ooh, but handling a cafe all on your own does sound hard. A Science Gate would have been less directly related to coffee, but it would have time travel. And you cannot tell me that this game won't involve time traveling. Or like, yeah, time traveling.
今は親戚の介護でたまにしか帰ってこないんだっけ。
So, if we go through like several hoops of logic, that still works out. Ow! Oh, my shoulder cracked.
そうだよ。お店も閉めようかって言ってたんだけど、私が無理言ってちょっとだけでも開けることにしたの。そしたらコーヒーを入れるってのが一番大変でさ、おばあちゃんからは1ヶ月以上かかっても結局 OK は出なかったよ。ただそれじゃあ店が開けないから、私もどうにかこうにか頑張っておばあちゃんが行く直前にギリギリ及第点をもらったんだよね。
先輩はいつから一人でお店を開けているんですか？
One thing about the hair, about
おばあちゃんが
Rinka's
田舎に行
hair
ったのが3月末だから、
that bothers me
私がお店を開ける
is
ようになっ
like
て
she says it's
だいたい
natural, which is
1ヶ月
fine.
になるね。
But like, imagine trying to dye your hair like this. And also, I am calling it now. If it's not going to happen, then I'm very off. But I think her hair might turn completely blonde at some point. I would like to see that. I think that would be fun. I take a sip of my own coffee after answering. Definitely smells and tastes a lot better than when I first tried to make some. I'm used to drinking her coffee, so the fact that I can answer with pride means I'm definitely getting there. Granted, I'm still a long ways from her level. You just have multicolored hair naturally in this world. No big deal. Yeah? You can have red eyes.
文化祭でこの美味しいコーヒーを出せたらいいなって思ったんですけど、さっきの話を聞くと難しそうですよね。生徒がちゃんと味の違いわかるかね。うちみ
One
たい
artist to
に
make the inside a
ミル
different
クが
color.
ないと全部苦いってなる子も多いだろうし。
It requires a lot of patience to do. There's definitely people that make
そう
that,
いう人もいるかもしれませんけど、
but
でも
it is expensive and it takes a very long time, and also the colors sadly don't keep for very long.
喜んでくれるのは間違いないですよ。でも先輩がおばあ様に
I always
教わって
wanted hair.
1ヶ月なら
If any of you have seen panty and stocking with garter belts, I always wanted hair like stocking, which is blue on the outside and the pink on the inside. That's so fascinating.
無理だと思うな。器具も安くないし。
But like, where would you even get that done?
おお、はっきり言うね。ですよね。やっぱり
I mean, Naomi, to be fair, no one goes to a school event to drink like quality coffee.
ちょっと待って。
It
私は
does look nice.
同じものを出すのは無理って言ったの。豆はうちがお願いしている業者を紹介すれば安く買える。それにハンドドリップなら器具も手軽に買えるし、学園
Oh,
祭の予算みたいのでも大丈夫じゃないかな。
maybe they will get some quality
入れ方
coffee.
はおばあちゃんに簡単にできるのがないか聞いてみる。
I like the look of multicolored
い
hair.
きな
That
りお
seems
店
like a
みたい
nightmare
に
to
入れる
keep
とは
up.
いかないかもしれ
Yeah!
ないけど、お客さんに喜んでもらえる。
Let's leave it to the fictional characters.
自信はないけど、
You
私
can
が
draw
教える。
just anything you want on someone. Doesn't have to be realistic.
だからあとはやる気次第じゃないかな。
I noticed Mao grinning as I finished my spiel. She probably expected me to say that. Naomi's obviously taken aback, but she quickly starts to nod and then responds.
そんなに頼っちゃっていいんですか？
ナオミが頑張るならね。それにおばあちゃんから聞いたことは私が教えることになるから、私の勉強にもなる。
She's so cute.
いいんだってナオリン。リータンは見た目のせいでよく勘違いされるけど、実はおせっかいなんだよ。特に自分の家族や友達に。
Hello? Hello? Oh, you see me? Is it working? Hello? Hello? I am moving. I am speaking. Things seem normal again. Okay. It is working so far. You're moving, you're speaking, the game is running. Great. That's great. Oh my god. I don't know what is going on tonight. But if it's now work... oh, yeah, okay, I don't know what's going on. Something is terribly wrong with Twitch tonight for me, I guess. One stream! One stream without problems, whether they be my own problems because my computer is not good enough, or Twitch is doing some fucky-wucky, I don't know. Okay. Okay. I am very much looking forward to having to pull all of these recordings together. You should check your settings sometimes. Find someone who knows a bit more. I mean, the funny thing is though, that just now, when it went offline, Streamlabs didn't say anything, like nothing. The recording and everything was going fine for me. No problem at all. This last one was on Twitch. The others are my problem, yes. I need to look into that, find out how much my PC can handle, what I can do better. It's just weird to me because it works just fine when I play stuff from the Switch. Or like some games when I play them on PC, they were also fine. So I don't know what the problem seems to be. But I will definitely have to check that out. Okay. It's been over an hour and we have done like nothing anyway. I mean, I don't even know how long Fatal 12 is. I don't think it's that short of a game. So I might have accidentally started a really long game. 17 hours, okay, that's... Alright. Technology is weird and complicated. That it is. It's shorter than Steins Gate. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Steins Gate would have been like, what, 60 hours or something? Alrighty. Ah, why does my shoulder keep doing that? Okay. Let's go look at these very cute girls who are drinking coffee. Don't call me cheapskate. With that out of the way, we spent the rest of our time together chatting. I have to help a few customers, but they don't mind me talking with Mao and Naomi so long as I get their orders out in a timely manner. In fact, some even join in the conversation, not just because they're regulars, but because I've known plenty of them since I was a kid. They kind of feel like relatives in a sense. Lion House has always had that homely feel to it. Both me and my grandmother consider it our second home. That's why I hope it stays the way once she gets back. Both Mao and Naomi leave just before 7 PM. Alright. I head up to my room on the second floor after closing and cleaning up the shop. That's a nice room. For a normal playthrough. Yeah, it is a bit longer because I have to read everything. Penguins? Penguins! Aww! I gotta be honest, I'm pretty excited about helping Naomi. I enjoy making coffee as it is, so it'll be nice if other people end up feeling the same. Knowing Naomi, she'd probably pick up on it easily enough, although her clumsiness is a concern. That aside, what was that dream earlier all about? I felt okay once I started talking with Mao and Naomi, but I can't shake the weird feeling from when I woke up. I've never felt like that before. I can't even say for sure if I was actually dreaming. Huh? Also, they're not cards, they're books. In the middle of telling myself to forget about it and try to sleep, I notice a thick book on top of my desk. It's an auburn color with some gold leaf decorations on it. I assume these are gears. Yeah, better not mess with it. Sure, let's just not. How do I save in this game? Save. There we go. Yeah, let's check it out. Obviously. Ooh! I take care when cracking it open, trying not to get it dirty. There are no pages inside, rather there's a rectangular gap in the middle. I closed the book immediately, having more questions now than when I spied it. Might as well message Gran about it tomorrow, considering it's already this late. Wasn't it just like 7? My phone vibrates after I turn the lights off and hop into bed. It's a message from Naomi.
今日はありがとうございました。これからよろしくお願いします。律儀だな、ナオミは。
I send a quick emoji in response and then place my phone beside my pillow without checking to see if she reads it or not. Oh. Huh? I'm pretty sure I've fallen asleep, but I feel conscious. Except I can't move my body or even speak. Is this sleep paralysis, or maybe it's a lucid dream?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear a man's voice, but I don't know to whom it belongs. A figure appears soon after, but I can't make it out all that well. It's someone slender with a vaguely androgynous face. I can't respond, so I wait for him to continue.
運命に導かれ、君の因果は消したようだ。
Vibrating sound is one of the sounds that catches me off guard. Alright.
悲観することはないよ。なぜなら君にはこれから12週間、再び生きることのできるチャンスが与えられているからね。
Thanks.
普通じゃないよね。そう、その通りさ。けれど、君が特別なんじゃない。特別なのは君の持つ運命だよ。
Uh-huh. He spouts this nonsense at me in a calm, almost rehearsed fashion.
私かい？私は君たちをいつも見ている存在さ。
What? Your god?
本来、君たちに会うことはないのだけれど、何の因果か君の夢とここがつながってしまったみたいだね。さて、せっかくだから挨拶をと思ったけれど、
Help.
もう十分だろう。
Help, some weird guy just showed up in my dream.
では、物語が始まる前に少しだけ君の原風景を思い出すといい。
Oh no, the music's... Never mind, the music hasn't stopped. I was like, oh no, the music stopped, something's about to happen. The man disappears as soon as he stops talking and my consciousness fades away once more. Oh? Oh? Ah! Flames envelop me. Flames powerful enough to flake the skin from my bones. Flames that produce enough smoke to smother my lungs. My life turns to ash. My inability to move even my fingers tells me as much. I hear someone shouting. Whoever it is keeps shouting over and over. The calls are eventually drowned out by the roaring flames that continue to spread. By the time the voice has been entirely drowned out, my consciousness has extinguished. And then I wake up. That shirt design though. I wake up from my own uncontrollable scream. What an awful nightmare. I was engulfed by flames and died. Yeah, what an awful nightmare. Definitely didn't happen. That wouldn't happen to us. I'm drenched in sweat. My breathing's beyond ragged. Even worse, I notice a strange black blob on my stomach, all the while wondering why I even had such a dream. Aww. Kitty. This is our cat Leaf. I'm still not sure if my gran got it or if it was originally a stray, but it's made lie in the house its home. It's been here as long as I can remember, but it's still pretty lively despite its age. Maybe I was struggling to breathe because it's lying on my stomach. Is that why I dreamt what I did? It jumps from the bed and skitters off when it realizes I'm about to get up. You sleep with your hair tied up? That's not good for your hair. You're going to break it. They say cats are free spirits and leaves... I don't know. How would you say that? Leaf? It's a perfect example. I don't know where it usually goes to hang out, but it doesn't cause any trouble here and it knows where to do its business. My gran always said that trying to keep a cat caged is about as pointless as trying to catch clouds. In other words, she's had a fair share of trouble with it as well. You cannot contain a cat. I have myself a good stretch before I get ready to open the store. Today's a holiday, so it needs to be open nice and early. Just as I think I can relax a bit after the morning customers have left, the bell on the door chimes.
いらっしゃいま。あ、みはる。
Oh?
おはよう、
Ooh!
りんか。
Pretty. In trots a tall and stylish girl with matching looks. The sun reflects off her long silky hair, enough to make it seem like she's generating her own light with each and every step. That's Mishima Miharu for you. She's a classmate of mine and part of our to-be-avoided group. But in her case, it's more because she's practically perfect in every regard, so people find it hard to approach her.
あれ、今日はバイト休み？今日はこれからバイトだよ。
Ah, should have figured, considering she's wearing a school uniform. She normally wears her own clothes when we're out in public, but I guess she can't be bothered to pick something out to wear for work. Helps her to avoid getting hit on by guys on the way home too. Not sure how that works exactly, but hey. Thing is, she works way out in Akihabara. This is by Shinjuku, pretty much the opposite side of town, so why'd she go out of her way to come here? Does she need something?
僕はただ、リンカの顔を見たかっただけだよ。昨日はほとんど話せなかった
Oh
の
right,
で、
yeah, it's
今
the...
日から連休になってしまうからね。せめて今日くらいは
Isn't it the
リン
week
カと
before
話して
Golden
おきたくて。あ、はあ、どうも。
I have to admit there are certain facets of Miyaru that I just don't get. I'm pretty confident she has some other business out here, yet here she is teasing me. It's hard to find the right response sometimes.
さて、もう少し長いしたいところだけど、他にお客さんが来ても困るだろうし、僕は行くよ。
You have
二
really
人きり
big
になるのを待
eyebrows.
っていたら遅くなってしまったしね。わざわざ待ってたの？入ってくればいいのに。常連さんばっかりだから。
I just noticed she has really big eyebrows.
今日は天気がいいからね。緑を見ながら待つのも気持ちよかったよ。まあ、ならいいけどさ。
There's a park across from here that's famous all over the country. Apparently it was an old samurai's garden that became a park after being used as a zone for experimental agriculture projects. Not only does it have all sorts of flowers from here, England and France, but there's also plenty of tourists who come by to see it. Unfortunately, we're a bit out of the way to draw them in as customers, but a couple of foreigners do find us and stop every now and again. We have a good view of it from here, although I don't think it's the kind of thing you can enjoy for long. Miharu has some peculiar taste though, so who knows, maybe she can. Oh, why is her skirt so long? Is that what you get in an all-girls school? Everyone can choose how long they want their skirt to be? Like, look at the difference. We can barely see our skirt behind that apron, and then her skirt is like floor length.
そうだ、思い出したよ。連休の最終日、5月6日にスターダストキングダム
Really
に
long hair, yeah.
忘れてないよね。その日はちゃんとお店を休みにするんだよ。
It looks good.
忘れてないよ。
Maintaining that much hair is horrible. Nah, never. Stardust Kingdom is a famous theme park out in Chiba Prefecture. We've made plans to go there at the end of Golden Week, fully aware that it'd be at its busiest.
君は前科があるから確認だよ。
I like her, she's really
そ
cute.
れじゃあ。
And tall.
バイバイ。またね。
Miharu leaves with a smile on her face. I had to stop myself from saying bye because Miharu isn't fond of people saying that whenever they part ways. I get where she's coming from. It sounds like what you say for long-term partying, but I think she's going a little overboard. Either way, I try to keep myself from using it when I can. In what? Why? How would bye-bye sound like a long-term partying, but matane... Oh, okay. Just as I'm planning to brew some coffee for myself, someone else makes their way through the door.
いらっしゃいま。あ、ナオミ。
That's an interesting outfit. In comes another friend. Can't say I'm surprised by her cute outfit choice.
おはようございます。
おはよう。いいよ。
The fact that she didn't mention Mihano must mean they didn't cross paths. Naomi seems a little down though. Not only that, but I can tell she had second thoughts about coming inside, either because there weren't any other customers or because she's conscious of the fact that I'm trying to run a business.
どうしたの？
I still haven't asked my gran about an easy way for beginners to make some relatively good coffee, so hopefully she hasn't come to ask about that. I have the option of teaching her myself, but I'd rather not do that with my own relative lack of knowledge.
実は昨日
Oh
忘れ
no.
物をしてしまったみたいで。
忘れ物？あ、もしかして本？分厚くて金色の歯車みたいな飾りのついた立派なや。
本ですか？いえ、
Oops.
私
Finger
本
slip.
は忘れていないと思いますけど。
そっか。だよね。
Not sure why I asked when she never set foot in my room, so tonight is a day. Tonight is a day. Oh my god, yeah. Tonight is a day. So obviously she wouldn't have left anything there. Turns out it is her pencil case. She could have just sent me a message about it last night, but apparently apparently she only noticed it was gone this morning. She lives here in the Shinjuku area, so she decided to take a walk and drop by to pick it up.
お母さんからチャットだ。キッチンのテーブルの上に。
How did you not check your kitchen table at home first?
すみません。
Well, that settles that. It's so Naomi to do something like this, though.
ところで先輩、その本ってどんなのですか？
She jumps back to a topic I'm not expecting.
本？気になるの？
It's probably going to be gone when you try to show it to someone.
はい。立派な本ってどんなものか興味があるんです。
It's like one of those things that other people can see, right?
本好きなんだね。
What if New was really small, but the camera was just very close?
Big noise.
Not like I have any other customers right now, and the street's fairly empty. I make my way up the stairs to get it.
お待たせ。
Oh,
これだよ。
it's not! It hasn't vanished! Amazing. An open cover with golden leaf decorations. I can tell Naomi's impressed, judging by the hushed noises she's making while examining the cover.
思った以上に立派ですね。結構昔の本みたいなのに古い匂いがしません。
Oh no.
開いてもいいですか？
いいけど、その本変なんだ。
The music is so chill, but like I'm fearing like, I don't know, the end of the entire world. Not just us dying, but like end of the entire world.
変ですか？
Her inquisitive look shifts to a confused expression upon opening it. Can't blame her. There aren't any real pages, just a big rectangular hole in the middle.
確かに変ですね。昔流行ったカードブックに似ています。
The what now?
カードブック？
カードを使って変身して戦うって。
Yeah, that is definitely Card Captor Sakura.
知りません？
やってたような、知らないような。
この空洞の中におもちゃのカードが入っているんです。本はあくまで箱で。
Are we going to turn into a magical girl?
気づきませんでしたけど。
Are we?
これも下の方にカードが入っていません。
I would be open to that.
あ、本当だ。模様が似ているから気づかなかったよ。
出してみてもいいですか？
どうしよう。おばあちゃんのかもしれないから。
Honestly, this is probably the only protagonist who just actually stops. Like, no, I think this belongs to someone else. Let's maybe not do something with it when everyone else would just like, oh, what is that? We need to check it out. I would. I would. It's no regular book, at least. I'd feel bad if we uncover something she's been wanting to keep secret. That's why it's best to ask before we pry any further. Naomi's hands fly off the book almost immediately after I say that.
すみません。私、本のことになるとつい夢中に
You
なっちゃ
couldn't
って
have known, you're fine.
知らずにベタベタと触ってしまって。
I don't know if I would have
気に
even
しな
opened
くて
it.
大丈夫、私が持ってきたんだしね。
You could tell she wasn't tranced by it. I guess a book like this would fascinate anyone who's as into books as her.
じゃあまた上に戻してくるね。
Wait! As soon as those words fall out of my mouth, someone new walks through the door. An actual customer. Not one of the regulars though. A woman with a suitcase, likely a tourist from abroad. She ends up asking where her hotel is, which is apparently closer to Shinjuku. I end up telling her that she's come a bit too far out. Apparently she's come to Japan alone to tour all the famous temples, but is in a bit of a pinch since she can't understand the language. Once I tell her where to go, she thanks me and goes on her way. She doesn't order anything, but she's kind enough that I can forgive her.
リンカ先輩って英語ペラペラだったんですね。
She's so good at English they don't even show it. Haha. Naomi can't contain her excitement after the woman leaves.
全然喋れないけど。
謙遜ですか？だってさっきの女の人英語だったじゃないですか。
Now I'm the one who's surprised. We were speaking English. Oh! It felt as natural as any other conversation to me. Then again, she did mention that she didn't understand Japanese. There's no way she'd say that if we had such a fluent conversation.
なんでだろう。
Oh, what's going on?
私に聞かれても。
Oh? After putting the book upstairs, I returned with one of my English textbooks.
適当に問題出してみて。
わかりました。単語でいいですね。
She throws some questions at me like I ask, and lo and behold, I can barely answer them.
ね、私英語できないでしょ。
確かにそうですけど、ちょっとだけ先輩が心配になってきました。
I mean, you were holding the book, right? When you conversed with her. She tries to be as polite as possible when pointing out my inadequacy. Funnily enough, she didn't even have to look back to the textbook for the last few questions. It's worth noting that while studying isn't exactly my forte, English is a subject I struggle with more than others.
そうなると、さっき先輩が話せてたのが余計に不思議です。
It felt like I was having a regular conversation, so if anything, I'm more dubious about whether or not Naomi's right. I doubt anything will come from thinking it over for now, so I pay more attention the next time a foreigner comes along.
それでリンカ先輩、せっかく来たので、今日もコーヒーをいただいてもいいですか？
Absolutely!
お金は払うので。
いいけど、いいの？
But like, do you have your wallet with you?
はい。先輩の入れてくれたコーヒー、私とっても好きです。
The smile on her face is almost blinding as she speaks. I can feel my cheeks warming to a bright red. It's hard to describe the happiness those words instill in you. It might actually be the first time anyone said that to me, considering I mainly serve regulars. They typically compare me to my gran, which isn't all bad, but they've never praised me as an individual. That's why I can't help but be taken aback by what she said. Enough so that I struggle to give her a proper response, let alone thank her for it. I would like to take this moment to remember all of the chat that the stream is sponsored by water. Trademark. Water! I make some coffee for her and she sips on it while reading a book. As she does that, I either handle orders for customers or clear up the table. I want... Not that I know any cafes close to me, but I want to go to a cafe so badly and just sit down, relax, and read a goddamn book. Corona, why? Every time I see this in stories or games, I'm like, I want to go to a cafe and also read a book. I want to experience I want to experience that. Just like chilling, sitting down with a nice cup of tea, coffee, whatever, and just reading. I want it. I want it. Once an hour has passed, Naomi gets her things together and comes over to the register. I feel bad taking money from a junior, but she seems satisfied enough.
あ、そういえばさ、ゴールデンウィークの最終日は暇？日曜日なんだけど。
空いてます。どうしてですか？
マオとミハルとスターダストキングダムに行く予定でさ、奇数だとアトラクションに乗るときとか一人余っちゃうかもだから、偶数の方がいいねって話をしてて。
Yes, please.
よかったら行かない？
スターダストキングダム。リンカ先輩たちと行きたいです。
うん。じゃあ決まりだね。みんなに伝えとく。チャットのグループも作っておくよ。
でも三島先輩大丈夫ですか？
Why wouldn't she?
ミハル？ナオミも仲いいと思ってたけど、なんで？こ
Hello.
っちは気にしなくていいよ。
How are you?
ナオミの予定と、あとお小遣いさえ良ければ。
はい。ならいいんですけど。
I'm not quite sure why she's acting so reserved in regards to Miharu, but at least she's willing to join us. I get back to work after seeing her off. The first thing I do once I return to my room at the end of the day is message my gran. Seems like she's willing to think up a recipe for us. The book doesn't ring any bells for her though. Seems like there are several books here with similar bindings, but they're just plain old books. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't curious about them, but that isn't enough to make me want to search through my gran's room. No, I need to figure out what to do with this one. Might as well sell it? Yeah, we're not going to sell it, excuse me. Smells like a bad ending if we sell it. Let's take a look inside. Actually, Naomi did mention that there are some cards inside. Might as well have a look. I flipped the book over, dropping the cards out. 4 in total, all have a pattern similar to the book's cover. Turning them over to the front, I noticed something written on the white background. The writing itself is in English, but I can read it perfectly fine for some reason. I, name, Shishima Irinka. Oh no, never mind, that's a 1. 3, name, Federico Caminati. 4, cause of death, fire. No, wait, 9, regret, gold medal.
どうして私の
Do I still know my Roman numbers? Maybe. I can't help but ask out loud. I'm not too sure what the other cards are about, but it's easy to imagine that it's nothing good when a cause of death and regrets are mentioned. There's probably a whole bunch of them considering the numbers, enough to fill up the entire hole in the book, I'd guess. When did all the other cards disappear though? More importantly, why was this book on my desk in the first place? I scour the internet as well, but nothing relevant comes up.
でもこれ氏名とか書いてあるし、個人情報だよな。同姓同名
Well, I mean,
ってわけもない
our cause of death was a fire. Well, a bomb and then a fire. But regrets a gold medal? What kind of gold medal? Selling the book isn't an option now. I put the cards back inside before placing the book on my bookshelf. It's probably worth showing Naomi whenever she's here next. 2 pairs of eyes are better than 1 after all.
それよりマオに連絡しないと。
I whip my phone out and send her a message about Naomi joining us for Stardust Kingdom, to which she replies almost immediately.
マジ？マジで？うわぁ。いや、ナオリンと行くのは楽しみなんだけど。まあいいや。ミハルにはうちから伝えておくから。
Do they two really not get along? What's... Well, a bit odd for a response, she has said that there's no issue with Naomi joining us. She emphasized that I shouldn't get in touch with Miharu though. While a bit suspicious, Mao's usually the one who gets stuff sorted out, so I don't pay it much mind. I'd rather think about the fun theme park experience waiting for us in a few days. Now you see what you reminded me of? You look like an edgy lollipop. Why? Do I look that edgy to you? Is it a choker? Why do I look edgy to you? Store will be open tomorrow as per usual, so I make my way to bed nice and early. flag! 1 hour after the park opens, we finally pass through the hellish queue to get in. We came an hour early, but it turns out others came even earlier than that. Well, at least we didn't have to wait in line for tickets, thanks to asking Mao to pick them up beforehand. Still, we totally underestimated how busy it'd be during Golden Week.
いやー、やっと入れたね。
Mostly I had a feeling if I
とりあえず取っておく？
She doesn't even wait for a response before snapping some pictures. Some with me, some with Miharu, some just by herself.
写真撮ってばっかりだと
Theme parks
レン
always
チに
look like
なるよ
southern German villages. They... That is a very good question.
モバイルバッテリー持ってきてるから大丈夫。
Maybe they just like their design. It's exotic for them.
リンカと撮りたいな。
Wow. Who wears a why actually all of you? No, Rinka's wearing shorts. Why are the both of you wearing skirts in a theme park?
ならみんなで入ろうよ。
それもいいけど、せっかくだし。
I think, you know, Rinka, I think Miharu is trying to make this into a date. So if it was just the three of you, Mao could just like leave and leave you two alone. So now that you're 4 people, that doesn't really work out. Naomi tries to hide her bewilderment through awkward laughter.
さて、じゃあお土産屋さんに行こう。
Time to splurge?
いきなりせっかく来たんだし、まずは乗り物に乗ろうよ。
そうだね。僕は絶叫マシンは好きではない。
Oh my
リン
god!
カの隣なら大丈夫かな。テーマパークって言ったら可愛い小物とかいろいろあるのに。あ、パレードも見たいな。ナオリンは？パレードは興味ありますけど、私は皆さんにお任せします。
Looks like Naomi's decided to just go with the flow. Can't blame her either. Pitching an idea to this group is kinda difficult.
ここからだと、あ、ブリリアントタワーっていうのが近いみたい。フリーフォール系のアトラクションだ。
散々並んだのにまた並ぶの？
You're going to a theme park. You're going to have to wait in line.
枚数は限られているみたいですけど、列をパスして入れる優先チケットがあるらしいです。
I mean, I wouldn't know. I've never been to a theme park.
僕も並んでいる間に調べていたよ。今の混雑具合だと使えるのは1時間後くらいからのようだけれど、取っておいた方がいいんじゃないかな。
うん。ならまずはチケットを取ろう。待っている間にお店を見よう。パレードは午後のもあるから、いくつかアトラクションに乗ってから考えよう。
おお、いいたいいリーダーだね。
All the parades in the Tokyo Disneyland are apparently really nice.
リンカの言う通りにしよう。
私は皆さんにお任せします。
And with that, we make our way over to the ticket machine. I can feel myself getting excited about how fun today will be. Fun. Hopefully. Would be unfortunate if something were to happen. The sky's pitch black when closing time looms near, allowing all the fancy illuminations to light up the park. Me and Miharu take a rest on one of the benches near the entrance, since Mao and Naomi split off from us to buy something they forgot to get earlier.
ってよく見たらカップルだらけ。どうする？移動する？
Rinka, get the hint. Hardly surprising considering we were at the theme park on a holiday. Still, it feels awkward sitting around people who are openly flirting with each other. I try to get up so we can move elsewhere, but Miharu grabs onto my sleeve and stops me.
いいよ。このままで。もうしばらく。
Ho ho. Okay. Those CGs are really nice.
嬉しいな。リンカが素直にうなずいてくれるのは珍しいからね。
It's not often that she wears such a shy expression either. She's normally a lot more outspoken, but something seems to be on her mind right now. Soon after, people start to gather around us to see the impending parade. Seems like we've picked a pretty good spot by coincidence, judging by the number of onlookers. The only issue is that it'll be hard to meet back up with Mao and Naomi if it gets any more packed, so I try to move again. Miharu maintains her refusal to let go of my sleeve though, and I fail to find the words to make her stop. The silence between us continues. This isn't normal. People tend to get the wrong impression about her since she rarely talks to anyone other than us, but she actually has a great sense of humor. She enjoys talking about the most meaningless stuff too. And yet, here we sit in utter silence. She's looking a bit shy, but there's determination in her expression as well, so I can't bring myself to say anything. The park staff sets up barricades near the bench during this time to make sure no one can get in the way of the parade before they start to organize people into lines. We could just stay seated, but doing so while the rest of the crowd waits around all excited feels too awkward. We speak at the same time, possibly because we're thinking the same thing.
何？
凛花の話から聞きたいな。
今日楽しかったねってそれだけ。
It's clear. See, bro, it says right here, you're dumbass. I have it right here on black and white.
とても楽しかった。
I like the glasses.
せっかくだからこのままパレード見ちゃおうか。マオにはチャット送っておくよ。
そうしてくれると嬉しい。僕は遊園地に来るのも初めてだし、夜にパレードを見るのも初
Do
め
we
てなん
really
だ。
get a love confession scene this early into the
興味
game?
があるんだよ。あまり家族で外出を。それも夜に遊びに行くなんてなかったからね。
そうなの？
Her only response to me is a smile. Back to an awkward silence. The only difference is that she has a downcast expression now, which morphs into one of worry, but then that hint of determination returns.
あのね、僕が言いたかったの
You're going to continue to say nothing. As soon as she starts, the people around us begin to cheer. Immediately after, all the park illuminations go dark, which signals the start of some lively music.
パレード始まるね。
You fucked up, Miharu. You took too long.
そうだね。
The sheer amount of noise coming from the parade makes it impossible for us to talk while it's going on. Regardless, just seeing it is enough for me. It's one of those things you can just sit back and appreciate. That's just because most anime kind of art styles do tend to exaggerate an accent. The parade comes to an end about a half hour later. Part of me is still entranced even after the park illuminations spark back on. Once most of the people who've come to see it move on, I tell Miharu that we should go too. She slowly loosens her grip on my sleeve before standing.
とても綺麗だった。
You are very pretty. I still don't understand why you would wear a skirt like this to a theme park, but if we're not going to ride any attractions, I guess it's fine.
そうだね。来てよかった。
僕たちはまたこうして出かけられるかな。
I can barely hear you. Excuse me, could you speak up a little? She says it with a dramatically different tone of voice.
大丈夫。みんなずっと一緒だよ。
Oh. Oh no. Wait. Oh no.
凛花が
I
そう言
want
っ
to
て
look
くれるな
past it
ら
after a while. But I didn't know someone really
僕は
points
満
out.
足だ。
I'm used to it. Like, look at the girls in this game, they also have really long necks. That's just how it is.
次は花火大会かな。8月に大きな花火大会があったはず。マオにはまだ話してないけ
Something
ど。
tells me Miharu won't be there in August for some reason. I make sure to emphasize that we should all go.
必ず。
She replies with one clear, simple word. So clear, in fact, that it worries me a little. Normally, you wouldn't be so firm about planning a night out with friends. My phone vibrates. Mao has just sent me a message, and when I turn around upon reading it, both her and Naomi are walking towards us.
あ、来たよ。行こう。
Something here isn't right. Why do you look so upset?
ミハル？
あ、すまない。少しぼーっとしていた。 そうだね。合流しよう。
Why? What do you know that I don't know? I waved the two of them over after she says that. The first thing I do when I get home is take a good shower. Today's been absolutely exhausting, so my body insists that I dive straight into bed afterwards. Me! One social interaction, boom! I'm done. I'm not exactly rolling in money, so I couldn't buy much, but I did come home with something precious. I'm sure I don't need to say what it is either. My gran even gets back to me about relatively cheap and tasty beans, as well as a way for beginners to make decent drip coffee. School's back in session tomorrow as well, so I need to make sure I teach Naomi properly. Once I hop into bed, my eyes are drawn to a certain book on my bookshelf. I still haven't told Naomi about the cards inside. I should do that when she comes over to learn the coffee brewing technique. I turn my light off, ready to fall asleep. You're not going to sleep, are you?
すごく楽しかった。
I find myself repeating the same thing I said a few moments ago. We're still a ways off from the fireworks display in August, but I'm already looking forward to it. There's no doubt that we'll do plenty of other stuff before that too. So I figure anyway, I still have no idea what is in store for me. I never even considered the possibility of my daily life being disrupted by something far beyond my imagination. Oh. Morning already? It doesn't feel like I've been asleep very long, but that might just be because I was so exhausted last night.
ごきげんよう。運命の奴隷の皆様。
ごきげんよう？
あら？最後のお一人ですわね。一番様？
Ooh! I am wrong! I haven't woken up. This is the same thing that's been happening to me these last few days. I'm still asleep and yet conscious for some reason. Slowly but surely I open my eyes. Oh, wow! I am going to steal whoever drew this. Like, I am going to steal that ability for myself because that background is... how do I want to take it? No, I want to take a picture of it. How do I hide the menu? Can I not hide? There. There's a hide button right there. Normal place. Absolutely normal. I hang out there all the time. You know what that reminds me of? Miraniki. The sight that greets me is one that I could never have imagined. A number of gears float amidst infinite darkness. I gaze up and notice a faint ray of light piercing sad darkness. Then it finally registers that I'm standing up, not lying down. I find myself on a circular platform about 3 meters in diameter. A witness stand, like one you'd see in court, is attached to the platform. I've only ever seen one in the news and on TV shows. This is where every normal person hangs out with their butts. This is a Danganronpa room. Also, thank you for both the higher time and the check. Hold on. I go to hang out with my buddies there all the time. Ah! Crack. Even more baffling is that this platform seems to be floating. It's attached to a much larger circle but floats independently of it. This is just one of 12 platforms by my count, all of which are arranged within a larger circular pattern like a clock's face. As if in support of this analogy, the platform on which I stand is labeled with the Roman numeral 1. In the center of these concentric circles are massive clock hands slowly ticking away.
何？ここは何なの？
どうして君が？
Eh? Ha! Ha! Hi! I inhale sharply the moment I hear that voice. The platform beside me, which would be Roman numeral 2, has none other than Miharu standing on it.
一番様、その方の名前はお告げにならない方がいいですわ。
A voice I don't recognize stops me. I look in the direction from which it comes, only to see a small girl with white hair.
床のないところ
I don't trust you.
歩いている。
Unlike the rest of us, she isn't standing on a circular platform. She's walking around on nothing at all. She takes another step forward, stopping on a subsection attaching our platforms together. The hem of her skirt flutters up slightly, which reveals her slender thighs. Her hair is as fluffy as her clothes, the latter of which resembles the attire worn by a foreign noble. The head nestle on a tiny head is kind of cute too. Our eyes meet as we turn to face one another.
私は運命の女神パルカ。女神の選定を取り仕切る管理者であり、あなた方人間の上位に当たる存在ですわ。
Oh, she sounds like someone I don't like.
は？ごめん、何の話？
She sounds like someone I will not like.
どうやらあなたは死のショックで記憶が一部抜けてしまっているようですわね。あなたにも説明をして差し上げたと思うのですけれど、仕方がないのでもう一度だけ説明しましょう。
説明？死のショック？ごめん、そもそも全然意味がわからないんだ。
Oh my fucking god. Are you for real? Are you finally done? Oh my god. No, what do you mean no, you're not done? You have an important appointment later, so I had to quit it. Oh no! He comes out of bed for today. 8.5 hours. I might hopefully get to the finale. Finale. She just wants to sleep. No. Stream just gone? What? Stream gone? Again? I'm having trouble with Twitch tonight. We're watching a visual novel. Wake up. 2 challenges on Friday. Oh my god. Hanana. Oh, thank you so much for the follow. Okay, stream's still running. Oh my god. Okay. Hello, hello. Wow, hi. Hi, thank you so much for the follow. You did it horrible. That's fine. Yeah, we are playing Fatal 12. You can't see nothing. That's not good. That's not good. We are playing Fatal 12. Even though we had originally planned to play Necrobarista and we got started on that, but then my PC decided to absolutely shit itself when trying to stream that. So now we are playing something that works better. Also, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you! Bad rate a little late. That is just fine. Was Fatal 12 the Yuri one? Well, I don't know. I don't know if it does have Yuri. I'm guessing it does have very subtle undertones so far. So I know, so it might be the Yuri one. Yeah, I have owned the game for a long time, but I haven't read up on it. Oh. So, I'm very much going into this blind. Even in, oh my god. Yeah, okay. My viewer count just jumped up a lot. Welcome everyone. Wait. Wait, I forgot to do a very important thing. How do I do this? Like this. Yeah! There we go. Little late. Just a tad late. But yeah, welcome. I hope you will enjoy seeing me read this visual novel. We died, and now we're stuck in. I can't exactly explain what's going on. Also, you want a Pikachu? Okay. You get a Pikachu.
Pikachu. Pega pega. Pikachu.
Just wants to redeem as well. Every time there's a raid, we have to do a Pikachu now. Quick throw them as well. Thank you, thank you. Felt like a good time for people to see a special talent. Nice! I can also do a goat. But that like pierces eardrums, so... dun dun. Dun dun. Dun dun. Ding ding ding. Nu's a goat and I'm a pterodactyl. Yeah. Have I ever shown you my goat? Who wants to hear the goat? I will do it. I will do it. Also, it's not a screamy goat. It's a squeaky goat. Okay, okay, hold on. I hope this isn't too loud. Is that even a goat? Or is it a sheep? I don't know. It's a goat for me. Finally, Nu's touched grass. Is this a sheep? No, it's a goat. It's a baby goat, a small baby goat. Okay. Okay, let's continue to listen to this little girl who is apparently some kind of god. Tell us what happened to us because we're dead.
黙って聞いてくださいます？
I do not enjoy being dead. That's a sheep for sure, damn it! She sighs again, obviously unimpressed. Her attitude toward me, despite her being visibly younger, makes me want to keep interrupting her. Okay.
君は忘れていたから、この数日間普通でいられたんだね。
Beep beep, that's a sheep. Aww.
このまま話を聞いた方がいい。
Okay, then I can do a sheep. I guess.
でも言い方を変えよう。そうしてくれ。
Why are you also here? Do you also die? Oh no, does she also die? That's not good.
よろしいかしら？もしよろし
Thank
け
you
れ
so
ば
much for the follow.
他の
Hi.
皆様もおさらいしてくださいな。
She makes her way along a clock hand to the center of the clock face. She continues her explanation mid-step. Her tone as elegant as they come.
女神の選定。それはあなた方因果の時を等しく持つ方々が
So only one of us can survive in the end?
死の運命を回避するための儀式ですわ。
I don't like that.
先ほども申し上げましたが、私は運命の女神パルカ。これより12回の日曜
I
日と
do
い
not
う
want to fight others
本
for
日を除くと
survival,
残り11回の
if I can help it.
短い間ですが、以後お見知りおきを。
Please. She reaches the center of the clock by the time she finishes her self-introduction. She's done and oh my god, what is going on with me tonight? She then stands tall, pinches her skirt, and bobs a curtsy to us before continuing her explanation.
選定の
Ooh,
終
your
了にあた
eyes
る
are scary.
12週間後、あなた方12人は同じ瞬間、同じ場所にいるはずでした。
Mm-hmm.
けれども、その結果にたどり着くことなく、あなた方の命は終了してしまったのです。場所こそバラバ
Oh,
ラで
wait.
も、
We died on that train. Where did Mahiru die then? At the exact same time?
その時こそ因
Uh-huh. The juncture of casualty. Okay. Call it whatever you want, but I'm struggling to keep up. If what she's saying is true, then me and Miharu, not to mention the others here, we're dead. That can't be right, though. I've been living my life normally until now. So, am I a ghost? That makes even less sense. Confused though I may be, I listen to what this girl has to say.
因果の時において場所は重要ではないのですわ。なぜなら死の瞬
You're
間
using a lot of hard
あな
words,
た
my
方の意識
little
は現実から乖離する。生きているあなた方も時々は刑事上へと意識が移動することがあったでしょう。
あ
ここは夢の世界と呼びましょうか。
Okay.
人々の集合無意識の世界でもあり、いくつもの平行世界でもあり、あなた方それぞれの
Humanity's collective dormant consciousness.
不
Ah.
安定で実存のない世界。
You know what that reminds me of? Persona 5. Persona 5 fan. Sees Persona 5 everywhere they go.
存在するかも不確かな世界をあなた方が認識できるように、私はこの運命の大広間を作って差し上げました。
I take in my surroundings. No walls, no ceiling. Calling this place a court does feel fitting considering how odd it is.
名付けこそ実存しないものに存在と意味を与える最も単
It
純
still
で
reminds me of the card room in
最も強力
Danganronpa
な
3,
方法ですわ。お分かりいただけたでしょう。
even though I never finished playing that.
ごたくはいい。早く指名させろ。
Wait. A man's voice cuts in as if to silence Parser. The voice originated from the platform to my right, emblazoned with the Roman numeral 12. The man standing there has brown skin. He's tall and muscular with a hardened face. I assume he's from the Middle East. Actually, wait a minute. Isn't it odd that both Parser and this guy can speak Japanese? Theme in all Persona games, it definitely is. Why didn't I realize that sooner? Everyone said it's so natural that the thought never crossed my mind.
焦ってもいいことはありません。
Oh, she's
説明は
small,
ここから
small.
が大事なのですから。
Also, that guy has teeth. She gives a stern yet composed warning.
話を戻しましょう。あなた方12人の中で運命の先に進めるのは
Yeah, so you are definitely pitting us against each other like only one of you will continue to live, haha.
選定期間中こそあなた方の死因となった出来事はなかったことになっています
So
が
this is a death game.
最後に残る一人以外は結果的に本来の死の運命に戻りますわ。誰かが脱落した段階でこの世界はその人が本来の時に死んだ世界に書き換わります。
Oh.
そして因果の時から選定終了までの期間、あなた方は断りを外れた存在と思っていただいて構いませんわ。つまりこの女神の選定以外の理由で死ぬことは
Remember,
決
this
して
game
ない。
feels a lot easier to start. Don't
死
worry
な
if
な
you
い
end up
程
feeling
度
a
の
bit
怪我
lost.
なら
It's easy
し
after.
てしまうかもしれません
No, I mean
けれど
it is very easy to follow it. That's not a
お
problem.
まぬけの一番様、これであなたもお分かりでしょ
Don't call me both silly and then Sama in one sentence. She shoots me a sharp glance before she continues to speak. Much as I'd rather not, it's hard to feign ignorance after hearing her explain things this much.
12人が殺し合う。
90% 正解ですわ。けれどもあくまで9割。
At least you're technically already dead and shouldn't lose
野
anything.
蛮な方法は取りません。
Technically?
あなた方にはお互いを殺すのではなく、
Wow.
脱落させ合っていただきます。
Wow, that's not
だっ
helpful.
てあなた方はもう
One cannot kill that which is already dead. Are you kidding me? That's
闇だね。
horrible. Like, oh, you're going to erase someone else from existence. Like, they were never even there. At all. Miharu and I aren't the only ones to react either. The others have their own thoughts to share on the matter too. Pastor's voice, along with all of ours, resounds throughout the court so we can hear each other speak. I don't have it in me to take a good look at all the others gathered. Yeah, they would have needed to give them sprites for that. My eyes are glued to the person on platform 6. She sits in a fetal position, lifeless, almost as if asleep. I go back to focusing on Pastor after that in an attempt to take my mind off the uneasiness welling up in me. Wait! Is that why the kid on the train tried to kill us? We were already in the game? No, that's the start, right? That's how we died, and that's why we came in here. Maybe not? Oh god. I can decide whether or not to believe this after she finishes.
選定の参加者を脱落させる方法は3枚のカードを集めること。あなた方一人一人には現在、過去、未来を示す使命、死因、
We have the card of someone else already.
3枚のカードが割り振
I
られ
don't
ています。
remember which name, but we have one card with
自
a
分
name.
の情報が書かれた自身のカードをお持ちでしょうから、それは分かっていることでしょう。全く手がかりがないところからでは選定が進みません。皆様には
Ah, so someone's cause of death was
他
fire.
の参加者のカードをランダムに
That's
3
why
枚
we
ず
have
つ
that
配
card.
って
It's
います
random.
わ。
Then someone else's name, and what was the other card? Gold medal as a regret.
そしてこれからはカードを自らの手で集めていただきます。選定の参加者それぞれの情報を知ったとき、
I like it.
情報という概念はカードという実存に変わります。あなた方の世界、この夢の世界ではなく現実世界で情報を集めるのです。
But no one
そう
will
すれば
want to
自
share
然とカー
information
ドを
about
取得するこ
themselves
とができます。
if it brings them closer to.
夢と現実をつなぐもの、カードブックはすでにあなた方の手にあります。
So, hey, when's your birthday? No, you will get to kill me if you know it. I cast my eyes down as she mentions the book. It is a nice book. What I initially thought was some kind of handrail is actually a book stand. Resting upon it is a single book. An auburn-colored cover with gold leaf gears decorating it.
ナオミと見た。どう
It's Cluedo! It is! Just with more murder! I open it up only to discover that it's identical to the one at Lion House. A bright light pours out from it all of a sudden. I close my eyes on instinct and slowly open them again when I notice the light gradually fading away. What greets me now are 4 cards, one light up beside another, floating above the book itself. 1. Name Shishima Irinka. 3. Name Federico Caminari. 4. Cause of death fire. 9. Regret gold medal. Each card has its own details written on them. Is it Cluedo? Only one card has my own information on it though. Maybe that's thanks to my memory being fuzzy. The other 3 have information on the others, so 4 total. I catch myself peeking over at Miharu, but I can't see anything due to the light pouring from my book.
自分以外にはカードの情報も何枚持っているかすらも見えないってことだね。
だからそっちの本の周りは光ってて見えないんだ。
Okay, that's good though. Miharu gives a concise explanation of her discovery. She must have noticed me looking over at her. Meanwhile, past the pace was no mine, opting instead to continue her explanation.
指名の順番は皆様が意思表示をした後に決まりますわ。あなた方に割り振られた番号によって指名ができなくなることはありません。
What do you mean election order?
指名した相手が自身を指名していた時、自身のカード1枚を参加者全員へオープンにした方が指名する権利を得ることができます。
Okay, never mind. I am a bit lost. She continues her explanation to proclaim that if both reveal a personal card, they are required to reveal another. If both parties reveal all 3 cards, a stalemate occurs, which results in all other participants receiving the information and running the risk of being elected, nothing more. We only have 3 pieces of information, so revealing just one is risky enough. Conversely, if you refuse to reveal a personal card, then you'll be eliminated. I've only got 1 personal card. What's up with that? Parser moves on before I can ask.
他にご注意いただきたいこと。
Oh no, why do you do that to
1
me?
番様が12番様を指名。
Couldn't you have just written them as
3番
normal
様が
numbers?
1番様を指名した
It's
場
a
合、
bit quick with what I said. I
1
meant the
番
explanation
様
how
が
the game works is
12
confusing
番
at
様を
first.
脱落させた後、1番様は3番様によって脱落させられますわ。
Wait, so number 1 elects number, what is that, 12. And number 3 elects number 1. Should number 1 succeed in eliminating number 12, then number 3 is giving the opportunity to eliminate number 1. Okay.
指名の意思表示をした後、 指名は割り振られた番号の順番に行います。
So I can say, okay, I want to elect. Miharu is number 2. I want to elect number 2, and Miharu. No, wait, and someone else goes. They want to elect me. If I succeed in eliminating Miharu, then the other person can go and try to eliminate me.
ただし、1番様が12番様を、12番様が3番様を指名した場合、1番様が12番様を脱落させてしまうと、3番様の指名はなくなってしまいます。
Oh no, no. Ah yeah, no, that makes sense.
このようにねじれが生まれるとき、脱落者が最も多く
You just want to see all of us kill each other over the course of the next 12 weeks. Ha ha ha, fun. Hearing you explain all that makes me realize the meaning behind his cards. I ended up dying at some point without realizing it, and now I'm being forced to take part in this ordeal. It's why I was given these cards. She calls it divine selection, but this whole thing, collecting cards and eliminating others, it's practically a game with our futures at stake. Gathering information on complete strangers isn't an easy task, but so long as you can manage that, then...
3つの情報を
I
知
see
られ
them
たら
No, I understand. I get it. I get it.
そんなの
防御策というのがあるらしい。
My eyes have fixed to Miharu after hearing her, so I hope she continues.
自分を脱落させようと指名してきた相手のカードを3枚持っていること。
Well, we know each other in real life. Wouldn't we also know a lot of information about each other so we could get those 3 cards on each other really quickly?
その3枚のカードを捧げる。消滅させることで身を守れるらしい。指名された側は指名してきた相手を今後指名できなくなる代わりに、ただしその場合、指名者は自身のカードを参加者全員に1枚オープンにすることで。
It's nice that the game is explaining all of this to me, but it's not like we have any real choice here. This is a visual novel. The most I can do is say, okay, we do thing 1 or we do thing 2, and the game does the rest for us. I don't need to think about what that actually means.
あなたはきちんと覚えていらっしゃるようで安心いたしましたわ。
I don't need to use my P brain for that.
もしその2人が最後の2人になったらどうなるの？
それはその時が来たら説明しますわ。
No brain, only reading. Exactly. She makes it clear that she has nothing else to add. I try to interject, but she ignores me.
もう一つ、指名されても脱落しない。
Oh?
免れるケースがあるね。
Oh? A grin flashes across Parser's face in response.
例えば、ある人物を別の2人が同時に指名する場合、この時、指名の優先権の奪い合いが発生する。条件はさっきと同じ。自身のカードを1枚、参加者全員へオープンにすること。
So, technically, we could run this into the ground if everyone always takes, like, the next person, and no one ever does the killing. But that's not going to work out. We are 12 people who don't actually know each other. At all.
どちらも自身のカードをオープンにしないで優先権を取らなかったら、
察しは悪くはないようですわね。その通りですわ。
Miharu closes her book when she notices Parser is about to continue her explanation. I try to close mine, but it forces itself back open until the cards can make their way back inside. After they have, I can close it just fine. Seeing real objects behave like a smartphone app is a bit weird.
一夜で指名を行えるのは一人につき1回まで。
How many nights are 12 weeks? 70... 84. That is a lot of nights.
そして全員の指名の意思を確認してから実際の指名に移ります。
That is a lot of killing that could technically be done.
指名者が自身のカードをオープンにしたことにより、別の参加者がその方のカードが3枚揃ったとしても、実際に指名を行えるのは次の
You
前提
have
から
a
ですわ。
lot of rules. You just want to see us kill. Looks like there's a proper procedure for all of this. First, everyone has to decide if they want to elect someone, and once they've made their choice, the election itself begins. I can tell that the rules she's explaining are vital, so I try my best to keep up despite my persistent confusion.
指名して相手を脱落させると皆様にもメリットがございますわ。
There is.
それは脱落させた相手からカードを1枚取得することができるということです。代わりに
いい加減
No, let
も
her
ういいだろ
let her speak. The same voice that interrupted her earlier speaks out again. Oh hey, it's the tourist from before. Uh-oh.
黙れメガネ君もこの調子では話を続けられないだろ
The man clearly has no sympathy for the woman pleading with him. In fact, he seems to feel nothing at all, much like Partha.
仕
Now,
方
I
ありませんね。
wanted to know what merit there
それ
is.
では
Like, okay, you get the card, but that's not the end of it, right?
これより今宵の選定を開始し
They're
ま
going
す
to kill someone off, like, immediately. Aren't they? 12 people is a lot. I can't recall much of what happens next. Once the man on platform 12 elects a woman on platform 6, they are both raised upwards and out of sight. Not long after, platform 12 descends with the man on it. I assume it means that he has all three of her cards and has succeeded in eliminating her. After he returns, I think he shows a card to Partha and claims it is the name of numeral 8. Having to say which card you take is probably what she would have explained if I hadn't interrupted her earlier. Which means everyone else gets to know the card you claimed.
心配なさらなくてもこの時間はあなた
Okay,
方
so
の眠りの
the
時間
nice tourist lady we helped just earlier is now erased from existence.
つまり目を覚ませば
Not just dead, but like
朝
gone.
それでは今宵の脱落者は1名これをもって選
Isn't
定
that
を終了と
great?
いたしましょう
I cannot imagine spending my night any better than this. My consciousness begins to fade when she says that. The sensation is similar to when you start falling asleep. My train of thought has completely stopped at that point though.
受け入れる方が無理だろう
Not a single thing about it. Oh! Achievement unlocked first week! Yay! This is as good as gets, hanging out with random strangers in a death game. One of them, your friend, who is probably in love with you. Ha! The most accurate way to describe how I felt when I woke up this morning would probably be melancholic. Granted, I'm not sure I even slept in the first place, but what I'm sure of is that certain things I've forgotten have come back to me. Wednesday, May 2nd, Naomi and I were on our way back to Lionhouse from school. We were trapped in a fire on the train at the time. That explained why fire is listed as my cause of death. And it was no dream, it was reality. The fact that I couldn't stop shaking after remembering it lent credence to its veracity. Can you please use words I actually know? Even if my mind had forgotten, my body certainly hadn't. The fire broke out so fast that I barely had time to react, although I remember a feeling of relief at knowing that Naomi was safe. As for how the fire happened, I'm not entirely sure. My body starts to quiver and I get headaches whenever I try to think back. However, I do recall a very specific bag and a keychain attached to it for some reason. It turns out that I did indeed meet Partha after my death too. Like she said last night, I had already heard her explanation once before. There's no doubt it happened in an odd dream world too. I guess I've got no choice for the time being but to believe last night's dream and piece my memories together.
ダメだわからない
Well, I guess our normal life is over. Much as I'd like to be able to, this is the best I can manage right now. Even if I accept that it wasn't just a dream, there's still way too much I don't understand. I couldn't find a single noteworthy incident when I checked the internet for any info about railway incidents or the date either.
なかったことになってるバルカはそう言って
Yeah, so it didn't happen. Yet. In other words, the fire that killed me never happened once I became a participant in the divine selection. That's the only explanation. That odd book's perched up on my bookshelf like always. I wonder if this one and the one that appeared in A Code of Fate are the same book? If so, that'd mean it makes its way between here and the dream world on its own.
もう考えても拉致が開かない
For now, I guess we'll just go to school. Right? Still 4 cards in a book too. Wait, 4? That can't be right. Pastor mentioned that we'd automatically obtain cards when we learn some accurate information. Something about giving thoughts a tangible form. The card detailing my cause of death isn't here for some reason. That's not all. Miharu turned out to be a participant as well, so she should have her own set of cards. I figured I would at least have the card with her full name since I know it, but I don't. Oh, maybe you do need to know her birthday. That isn't the main issue regarding her, though. I've been trying to keep myself from thinking about it, but it's about time I face reality. Only one of us can make it through divine selection. Or maybe you can use the power of love and somehow overcome it. I don't know. Maybe. That being said, I'd like to talk to her first. There's the tiniest chance that this might have just been my imagination going wild. I eventually abandon my train of thought and get ready to go to school. I make toast for breakfast, but end up shoving it in the fridge because I can't summon the will to eat anything. Who puts toast in the fridge? Why? Why? I like how the toasting is what gets away. Yeah, I mean, excuse me? Hello? Mao's already in the classroom by the time I arrive. It is weird. Thank you. Amecha Girls University High School, otherwise known as Amecha, we know. An apparently traditional school with facilities from kindergarten right up to college. It's co-ed through middle school, but at the high school level, all the boys have to go as well. Oh, okay. That is way too many chairs and desks in one room. What kind of teachers do they have that they put like 30 or more people in one room? Excuse me. People seem to have this image of it being one of those stereotypical all-girls Christian establishments, but it's not much different from a typical top-tier school. Yes. I can't motivate myself to give a cheerful reply. What I saw last night refuses to leave my mind. Accepting the fact that I should be dead is proving to be a bit tricky. A bit.
そうかも。結構歩いてたし。
うちも昨日は疲れてすぐ寝ちゃったよ。だから今朝は超早起きだったの。
I like that apparently the clothing, like the school doesn't seem to care that much. Like they're wearing their uniform, but everything else, like those giant earrings, the jacket, everything. Meh. What do you mean I was in class with around 30 others? I mean, me too, but it was horrible. That's too many kids in one room.
まるでうちが月曜日はいつも遅刻してるみたいな言い方だね。違わないけど。
Talking to Mao helps to cheer me up a bit. If it turns out that last night wasn't just my imagination, then I really don't know what to do about it. I'm probably better off just living life like usual. Until I get the chance to speak with Miharu at least. Ironically enough, Miharu hasn't arrived by the time classes begin. Class size also varied from me. The ones with this many students were the ones I learned the least from. Yeah, because it's too many people. Like the teacher won't be able to keep up with it. And everyone in... Oh god, I'm so glad I'm out of school. In fact, she doesn't come to school at all. I've sent her a message, but it is listed as being unread. This following what's happened last night causes me to panic. Fortunately, Mao has some calming news for me. Hello! Hi! How are you? No, how are you? I'm fine! I'm fine! We are reading a fun game. Also, my shoulder keeps cracking. If that actually sounds... If you can actually hear that sound on stream, I'm very sorry. It's just my shoulder. Oh, you okay? That's great. God, you're doing good. I am! Posture check. Posture check so I can crack some more. Is that what you want? I thank you. So she's just ignoring me?
私の方、既読にすらならないんだけど。
ああ、いや なんでだろうね。気づかなかったんじゃないかな。
I make an expression that screams you're so full of it in response. She tries to avoid eye contact but eventually gives in when I refuse to stop staring at
二
her.
人の間にさ、昨日何かあった？
Hostage check is healthy in the long term. This is a cute little game. Yeah, we're stuck in a death game, kind of. I can't help but repeat part of a question back at her. Don't tell me that Miharu's told her
パ
everything.
レードの時、二人きりだった
You
よ
popped in during a slice of life segment, none of the tense moments. Yeah, we just got out of one of the really tense ones. A wave of relief washes over me when I hear that. She's only talking about the amusement park. In that case, I can't think of anything in particular. Mao seems legitimately concerned though.
うちさ、ミハルンが悩んでるって知ってるんだよね。
She tried to confess her love to you? And also you're both stuck in the same death game? She wastes no time in reverting to feigned ignorance.
教えてくれないの？
And here was ready for something happy considering how rare it is to see Mao looking so serious.
教えてもいいんだけどさ、ミハルンの悩みってリータンにしか
Oh, no.
解決できないからね。
私にしか？
じゃ、また明
ちょっと。
Dinka sounds like she's going to be a very oblivious protagonist. Mao ignores me and trots right out of the classroom. She's not in any clubs, so it's common for her to head straight home after school. In fact, she rarely stops by Lionhouse either, and I always get brushed off whenever I ask what she's been up to. Maybe she has a job? What's on her mind exactly? Thinking back to yesterday, she did look like she wanted to say something when we were alone. Considering the dream that followed, the two might be related. Which reminds me, Mao mentioned that Miharu would be going to work. I get what she's saying now. She really does care for her friends.
でも、ミハルのバイト先はな。
I find it hard to keep my concerns about where she works at bay. I know the name of the place and where it is, but it's kind of hard to stroll in there. I mean, it's a restaurant by definition, but it's a bit different from your standard fare. Is it a maid cafe? Is it a maid cafe? I'd be fine if Mao tagged along, but chances are she won't want to. After giving it some thought, I grab my phone and fire off a message. It's going to be a maid cafe, isn't it?
先輩って
Mm-hmm.
こういうところによく来るんですか？
私も初めて。
Link is oblivious, but
ミ
also
ハル
there's
が
some
ここでバイトしてる
justification.
から
Okay.
話したかったんだけど。
Miharu's workplace is a maid cafe located in Akihabara! Who would have guessed? It's a small privately run establishment, so the staff just has to wear maid outfits, meaning none of the usual business you see from bigger outlets, but it still takes some courage to stroll in. I wanted to go to a maid cafe so bad. Like, I almost got my friend to go in there with me because she was also like, no, I don't want to go in there. That's so... I was like, no, come on. This is my first time in Japan. I want to see one. And then we didn't do it. I wanted to spend an obscene amount of money on it. There's no way I could have done it on my own, which is why I brought Naomi along as a sacrifice of sorts. Unsurprisingly, all the customers are guys, which helps us to feel especially out of place.
そうか。君はもう少し女心を学んだ方がいい。
Miharu sounds beyond exhausted as she drops off my coffee.
なんかごめん。ちょっと話したくて。いても立ってもいられなくなっちゃってさ。チャットも既読にはならなかったけど、マオがバイトには出てるって言うから。
やっぱり真央か。ちょっと今朝は体調が悪くてね。真央からチャットが来たのは朝で、その時にバイトは行けそうと返したんだ。
うん、昼休み。
充電を忘れてしまったから電源を切って充電していたんだ。
Oh,
しかし
okay,
民家からの
she
連絡
didn't
を見落と
ignore
した
us.
は大きな失敗だね。
Nice. That's nice.
普段はほとんど連絡してくれん。
あ、
そうだ、これもだったね。
You don't really care for anyone aside from Rinka, huh? With that, she places Naomi's warm and fluffy cocoa in front of her, but she misses the coaster a little bit, which leads to her inadvertently slamming it down on the table. Naturally, it surprises some of the other customers, causing many of the gazers to turn away. Oh no! Gotta do a big gamer sleep, cause real gamers get plenty of sleep to be sharp and ready for gaming. Okay. You have a good night. Thank you for coming. Get some good rest.
おっと、これは失礼したよ。
Miharu turns to Naomi and delivers a polite bow. Naomi looks terrified despite being on the receiving end of an apology.
リンカはライオン館みたいに落ち着ける喫茶店を想像していたのかもしれないけれど、あいにくこの調子でね。も話があるなら仕事の後にライオン館へ寄るよ。リンカが良ければだけれどね。
I'm surprised that their school even allows part-time jobs though. Like it's a private school and everything.
でもさ、初めて見たけど似合ってるよね、メイド服。元が可愛いからかな。すごく目立ってるし。
Oh!
似合ってる。可愛い。
God.
照れるな。まさかリンカからそんな
If she ends up dying, like in the end, I'm going to be very upset. I like her a lot. Her face is bright red as she says that, a very uncommon occurrence. You'd imagine she's used to customers complimenting her, but I guess it's different when it's a classmate.
愛嬌を振りまいていれば高い時給をもらえるから選んだけれど、それだけでもこのバイトをしてよかったというものだよ。
そんなこと言って他のお客さんに
Right when Naomi says that, the other customers burst out in laughter.
ご覧の通り、僕はもともとこういう営業の仕方をしているからね。問題ないのさ。
ミハルらしいね。
Her hair on this CG is even longer than normally. As much as I can appreciate how these places have unique work environments, I still don't really like being in one.
じゃあ、ゆっくりするといい。
I handle the situation with expecting a worse outcome. Okay. I mean, we know she's already dead. That's why she's part of the game. So, I can't be surprised if she ends up being dead by the end of the game. She gives us a perfectly rehearsed work smile before moving on.
私来てよかったんでしょうか。
Maybe she actually really doesn't like Naomi.
私も同じこと思ってる。可愛い服目当てで女子のお客さんもいるのかと思ったけど、全然だね。
いや、そうじゃ
Makes it better when it isn't the worst outcome. That is true. Ignoring Naomi's stuttering, I make an effort to start on my coffee. We finish up our drinks in a hurry and leave just as quickly. We get on the same train back as well, but have to split up at Shinjuku Station, my stop. Oh no. I don't want... Okay, good! I don't want another bomb on the train! Once it hits 9 PM, I start preparations to close up shop. I opened up pretty late today, so there weren't many customers. We used to get lots of people coming along for lunch when my gran ran the store, but I can't make much. It's no surprise that they stopped coming. Even so, the fact that some people still come by because they enjoy being able to relax and chat here makes me happy. It's worth mentioning that my gran handles all business and financial decisions for Lionhouse, even while in the countryside. I put in the orders and such myself, but it's all based on her instructions after seeing each daily report. This is made possible thanks to the laptop she took with her. Oh! She's actually more tech literate than I am despite her age. Nice! Around the time I finish cleaning up the store, someone makes their way through the door. Hearing the little bell jingle, I look over to see who it is.
やあ、リンカ。
Hey! It's Miharu, who's changed back into a school uniform. Just remembering her in that maid outfit nearly causes an involuntary grin. I don't mean it in a bad way. It looked a lot better on her than I imagined. Although I bet most things do, considering she's tall and stylish. In the end, it's her work outfit, so it'd be kind of rude of me to laugh.
お疲れ様。バイト長引いた？
すまないね。引き継ぎ予定だった子がドタキャンしてしまったから長引いてしまったんだ。
よくないよね。 バイトとはいえ仕事なんだから。
Part-time jobs at cafes
仕
and
事
the
が
like,
楽
so
な割に時給が高いからね。正直僕みたいに稼がないと困るって子の方が珍しい。くすそれにしてもリンカが言うと説得
What
力
do
が
you
あるね。
mean? Rika's doing a lot of great work.
ミハルが言っても同じだよ。
The majority of Miharu's wage goes straight into living expenses thanks to her situation at home. She doesn't pay for tuition either thanks to a scholarship. I don't know the full story, but her parents got divorced, so it's just her and her mom at home, I think. What's worse, her mom is in the best condition, so she struggles to keep a consistent income. I might not be working for the money myself, but I can't really compare myself with Miharu when I've got my grand supporting me. Speaking of which, she mentioned once that most of the money she makes comes from real estate. She always brushes me off when I try to dig deeper into it.
それで
Wait,
僕と話したかったんだよね。
your grandma makes money from real estate? Are you sure she
僕は
makes
期待してもいいの？
real estate money and she's not part of like the Yakuza or something? Like, oh yeah, I make money from real estate, but don't dig deeper into it. The blood on my hands? Nothing, nothing.
分かってるでしょ。長くなる。座りなよ。
I take my apron off and move to sit down with her.
長くなんてならないよ。この話
Why
は
are we jumping immediately to Yakuza conspiracy? Because I don't trust it. I don't trust people we don't ever see in game. Like, oh, they get money from doing this and that, but they tell their own family members to not look into it. That's suspicious as hell. She stops me before I can take my seat and then continues.
夢の世界。女神の選定というのは
Oh, deep talk.
どうやら君はその詳細を覚えていなかったみたいだけれど。
Of course, what would be a visual novel if we don't have an kind of halfway amnesiac protagonist?
あの後思い出したよ。まだ記憶はぐちゃぐちゃしてるけど、女神とかいう女
Already the game where characters with less screen time were pretty bad.
初めてじゃないことだ。
True.
なら話が早い。必ず
She's going to end up like, oh, I want you to live, so I'm going to offer myself at some point, doesn't she? She says it with a radiant smile.
どうして笑えるの？
When I see her smile, I can't stop my gut feelings from taking over. I lose my self-control the moment she confirms that divine selection is real. Everything I've been holding back since waking up from that dream comes pouring out.
簡単さ。君は僕が参加していなかったのならば生き残ると決意できたよね。リンカは優しいから、それを口にすることは僕が本来の運命に戻る。
Wow, don't call me out
死ぬ
like
のだと認め
this.
てしまうと心を痛めている。でもいいんだよ。だ
Don't.
ってこの命は君に捧げようと思っている。
Please don't. Don't give your life.
は？ミハル、何を？
簡単なことだよ。僕はリンカか自分のどちらかしか生きられないとなったら、
ふざけんなよ。そんなこと言わ
Has
ないでよ。
anyone ever actually appreciated someone else saying they would give their life for them?
気軽に言うことじゃない。そんなの冗談でもやめてよ。
Because like, if you're the surviving person, you have to live with that guilt of knowing someone gave their life so you could live. I don't know. I break eye contact with her, giving myself a moment to regroup. Miharu replies by shaking her head while deciding on her next words.
覚悟があるから言えるんだ。
Maybe someone with no appreciation. Yeah, okay, so like, yeah, but like, has any protagonist or like a person we see in media portrayed as the good guy appreciated someone else giving their life for them?
それに選定の参加者は全員が性に固執していると言っていいだろう。
Probably not unless they're meant to be wrong.
どうして冷静でいられるの？
As much as I don't want to think about it, she has a cause of death of her own as well. The moment's undoubtedly etched into her mind. My own death shocked me so much that my brain tried to block it out, and yet she's here acting like it's no big deal. I don't understand how she does
君
it.
のためさ。今日話せてよかった。やはり君はきっと他の参加者を出し
I
抜い
wonder
たり
what
す
her
るこ
cause
とは
of
で
death
きない。
is.
僕の情報はリンカには教えないでおこう。狙われるリスクが増えるのは嫌だからね。学校では普通でいよう。君は生き残るのだから日常に支障が出てはいけない。
But you know, the music is really good. I like the soundtrack a
リンカ
lot.
も最大限の努力をしてくれ。君が死んだらその時点で僕の脱落は決まったようなものだ。
She finishes her spiel before facing away from me.
必ず君を守る。
Can you also like care about your own life a little? Just a little maybe? I can't open my mouth, not even after she's left my line of sight. I've forgotten to ask her about her own personal cards as well as the reason behind me not obtaining any cards related to her. Maybe that's not her real name. I make no progress for several days as I wait for the second round of divine selection to come around. I start to teach Naomi how to brew coffee bit by bit while I continue to engage in the usual banter with Miharu and Mao. None of this helps to ease the tension in my heart though. I can feel myself being pressured more and more by the reality that I've become a participant in divine selection again. So is it every day or is it only every Sunday? There are people in this world who don't deserve to live, and I've never had any issue counting myself among them. I spent my life stealing and killing as part of the mafia in southern Italy. I got to where I am today through countless betrayal. Wait! Did we just get a change? It's only once a week. Oh, okay. I was never in the big leagues, but I managed to find success after success as a mafioso. Until, you know, I messed up when I shouldn't have and, well, died. Success wasn't imperative in the world I lived in. The key was to avoid failing, because a single failure meant you'd be 6 feet under, and that's exactly what happened to me. It's funny though, turns out Lady Luck's impartial when it comes to whom she gives her blessings. Getting tossed into divine selection means I have the opportunity to live on despite my mistake. I've been given a new lease on life. You occasionally switch perspective. Yeah, I was just like, wait, so why is Rinka talking about how she never counted herself as a person to live? Like, huh? I might not deserve to live, but that's irrelevant in the face of my desire to do so. So long as that desire is there, nothing else matters. That's the Federico Caminali way of life. Oh! We have that guy's card. I've failed only once in my life, and I'm determined to keep it that way. I guess Lady Luck isn't the only one to pay me a visit though. Her much less unfortunate sister has made sure to stop by too. Hi, who are you? This charming individual is Odette Malecon. Much like me, she's a participant in divine selection. Under normal circumstances, we should be aiming to eliminate each other, but we've agreed to help one another out for the time being. Well, I guess it'd be more accurate to say that she's forced me into a truce. Ooh, I like her teeth. We use Capricorn as my codename when we're speaking. It's based on my zodiac sign. In turn, V is just how I refer to her. My only issue is that pronouncing French words is kind of tricky for an Italian like myself. French. I'm not pronouncing that correctly, I just know it. Anyway, I'm the one that suggested using codenames. I did that mainly because our names are valuable info when it comes to eliminating others in divine selection. None of us are supposed to know each other's real name. Knowing her, she's probably used some connections to pull my name out of the lake, but she won't tell me that straight up. Obviously I know her real name as well, but I haven't told her. Keeping that stuff to ourselves is the reason our current relationship works in the first place. You have a similar choker. That's true! I don't have shark teeth though. Or big titties. Excuse me. Oh, I haven't had Chinese in a while.
特にこの北京ダックっていうのは 中国の最大の発明じゃないかと思ってる。
I could go for some of those dumplings now. This game likes food a lot. Oh, wow. We love our games that like
フォア
food.
グラ用のガチョウといい勝負のくらいの残酷な飼育法だが、こううまいんじゃ仕方ない。まずく生まれ変わるしか道はねえからな。
Can you stop talking about like how they kill these animals? She shoves more and more food into her mouth the second she quits yapping. This is her third plate of Peking duck, by the way. She's had plenty of gyoza and steamed buns in between too. Hard to believe someone from France would order food like this, considering how particular they are about their full course meals. They are. Just watching her pig out makes my stomach ache.
つまりだ、世界で一番の料理がフランス料理なのは動かないが、中華料理には2番を与えてやってもいい。
I couldn't care
待
less.
てビエルジュ、お前の言葉には苦言を呈したい。2番以下はどこに
Food
譲って
cafe
も
and
い
for
いが
some reason platformers.
1番はイタリア
Even though is that what I'm known for now? Food cafe and platformers, even though platforming is an experience to say the least.
よし、いいだろう。じゃあ今から腕っぷしのいい中国人を呼んできて、フランス人、イタリア人、中
What
国人
the hell is your kind of
各国の
reasoning?
料理が世界一だ。
Okay, sure, let's find a Chinese guy.
待て待て、分かった。いや、分かってはいないが、この話題はやめてくれ。
Also, don't put your fork and knife down that way. That's. She really would hunt for someone too. Only problem is that it doesn't matter what kind of tank she recruits. She still beat both of us senseless. Ain't many people who can take her in a fist fight, man included. She's the head of a group teaming with tough seamen for a reason.
さてフェデリコ、酒はいるか？この紹興酒ってのは溶かした飴みたいでなかなかうま
Wait,
い
I
ぞ。
thought they didn't talk to each other using their real names.
オーデット、あんた。
Just like that, she's baited me into saying her real name.
さっきお前が何を考えてたのか知らないが、無意味な牽制はもうやめねえから。
Well,
どういう意味
I already know the answer, but I ask anyway. She chucks more Shao Shinju before showing me a big toothy smile.
さあな。だがこの女神の選定とやらでよ。使命って情報は一番すぐにわかる情報じゃねえか。お前はコードネームで呼び合うことを提案したが、意味ねえんだ。調べればわかることだからな。死因もそうだ。自分の死んだ時間におおよその見当がついているから。
I mean, for you people, it's easier. Like, if one of those guys is from the mafia and you're the leader of some seamen, you have an information network to work on, but there's like 2 literal high schoolers in there. I don't think they have that kind of network.
バカにするな。この選定は未練を探り合う情報戦ってことが言いたいんだろ。それくらいは
I
分
wonder
かってる。
whose regret the gold medal is.
分かった上でコードネームを使うってんだから、お前は小物なんだよ。使命なんて捨てろ捨てろ。
だが全員分の未練はカードでラン
Game's
ダム
very
に配
balanced
布さ
and
れて
fair.
る
What do you mean?
誰かが俺たちの
Right,
カードを
right.
持っているはずだぜ。
Absolutely.
初期カードはランダムなんだから、都合よく私らの情報を3枚揃えられるわけじゃない。
Imagine someone just got 3 cards that all belong to the same person, but they don't know because they think it's random.
1回目の選定で誰も私らを指名しなかったんだから。
Like, what if it just doesn't fit? You see these people and their regret is like, oh, I never got to be a ballet dancer, and you see her and then it's like, well, how would you know it that fit, right? You wouldn't think. You wouldn't. Ow! Can you stop? Jesus Christ. You wouldn't think it fit.
あのインド人も私らのカードを入手したわけじゃなさそうだしな。もしそうなら。
I like the diverse cast though. Are you okay? I'm fine. It's just whenever I move my shoulder, for some reason, it makes a sound.
もし最初に配られた3枚で誰かの手
Just
元
now
に
my
あん
neck
た
did
の
the
カードが
exact
揃っ
same
てた
thing.
ら
Ow.
どうするつもりだったんだ。
運命を呪うだけだよ。賭けに負けたって死ぬだけだ。
You say that now, but once you're actually dying, will you still be that way? I really can't stand this woman sometimes. She makes you think she's got it all planned out, but she leaves the most crucial bits up to luck. Her cautious and rational actions end up getting thrown out the window when she goes wild for no discernible reason. I honestly don't know what goes on in her head. This is the first time I've come across a woman who doesn't just do whatever man tells them to. Wow. Bruh. The worst part of it all, though.
最後の二人になるまでは協力関係だ。従わないってんならまた殴ってやるからかかってきな。
I'm supposed to check. That's what she does to resolve everything. She resorts to violence. I can't call her a nasty name out loud, so let's just keep the insults to myself. Wow.
でだ。選定の最後の日には日本にいなくちゃいけないんだろ?
Oh, you need to be in Japan?
たちは中国にいるの?
Federico's not as nice of a narrator as Rinka is. I can imagine.
決まってるだろ。私は北京ダックが好きだが、本場では食ったことがなかったんだ。
おいおい、マジかよ。
ついでに宿題の答え合わせをしに来たんだ。
I mean, I won't think a guy that's involved with Italian mafia is a nice guy.
私たちの船が襲われる直前、中国食品企業の重役さんが会議中に倒れたってニュースが入ってたんだ。
As you might have guessed, Odette's the representative for a certain shipping company. Of course, we're talking about this woman, so I know why it's a plain old shipping company. Doesn't matter if it involves drugs or even dead bodies, they'll take any job they're paid to do. In that regard, you could call them smugglers. Their existence is kept in the dark, though, likely because certain governments aren't shy about making use of them. Well, it's not quite accurate to say they'll take up any job, considering Odette makes it a point to turn down anything she considers boring. Certain circumstances led to my hitching a ride on her boat, which is how we ended up cooperating in the first place.
選定で生還した後、気になったんで詳細を調べたんだ。だが、そんな事件の情報はなかった。
So some kind of Chinese company, Big Shot, is probably also involved in the game.
おい、それって。
If the event didn't happen. I can't even take the bite of food in front of my mouth when she says that. She, on the other hand, grabs the bottle of Shaoxingju and downs what's left in it.
仕事柄、こういう世界の情勢ってのを気にしてないといけないから。
Oh yeah, because the participants, they keep the memories, even if the stuff is like erased, I guess. Okay.
調べ直してみたらまあ。 ピンピンしてるみたいだぜ。
The moment she mentions his name, the book beside her emits a strange light. Uvokiri, I'm here. Hi! It's a big, thick auburn-colored book with some gold leaf decorations on it, but there ain't no pages in it, just a big hole in the middle when you open it. I've got the exact same book, see? It's some kind of card storing book used for divine selection. We know that. So you. Thank you! The dull light focuses into a single point once she opens her book. It gradually fades and in its place is a rectangular piece of paper. Odette catches it while it's hovering in mid-air. Number 7! Okay. Bingo. I wonder why we don't have Mahiro's card then though, because she literally just said his name. The girl who was going on about being a goddess mentioned that the cause of all our deaths had been undone. The fact that Odette was able to notice such a paradox proves that the girl wasn't lying. I don't like how both of you talk.
いや、企業の重役に上り詰めたやつが命に関わるミスを犯すとは思えない。会議中に突然死。
She calls it a guessing game, but she clearly isn't taking steps in the dark. Does the fact that the card didn't appear mean she's not on the right track?
いや、カードが生成されるには条件があんのかもしれねえな。ローの名前に気づいていたのに、今までカードが出なかったのはなぜだ？
わかるかよそんなもん。
We're doing crimes now.
ここに何か迷っ
Yes!
てみたらどうだ。
Maybe because you spoke it out loud?
お前も考えろってんだ。いや待てよ。
Maybe he was assassinated. No, wait. No, he collapsed during a meeting. Never mind.
私の確信がなかった。
Maybe he was poisoned.
でかい独り言だな。
My attempt to tease her falls on deaf ears. The grin that spreads across her face soon after bursts with confidence.
どちらかといえば確率が高いのは脳梗塞、糖尿病の合併症で会議中突発的に起きてもおかしくはない。
She directs a question toward the book as if it not back. Amazingly enough, it does respond. It reacts the same way as when she obtained Ro's name card.
7番の死因、
Oh!
脳梗塞。今回はどうにかなったが、単純な当てずっぽうじゃダメみたいだ。一個分かったルールは
That's a weird
確信を
condition.
持たないと
You need
カ
to
ード化さ
believe
れ
in
ない
it,
ってとこだが
and if it's right, then it'll
かなり
show up.
曖昧だな。
Okay, I believe her name is Mahiro. Show up! Believe in the heart of the cards! Wait, wrong game. I should mention that Odette went through that entire process while she continued to chow down on her food. I planned on going easy on the booze so I could stay rational, but I end up downing my drink as well. The all belief thing is the weirdest part of the rules, yeah, okay. I figured that being stuck with her is a bad thing, but on the other hand, it might be perfect for me. This woman is gonna be useful. It's not often that you find someone who's got the brains to match the brawn, so I should be able to get rid of anyone in my way with her around. Oh, both of you are going to stab each other in the back so hard. Why would she cooperate with me though? Maybe she figures I have all the info I need on her, so she's doing this to make sure I don't hand anything off to the other participants. We were on the same boat when it sank, so naturally you'd think we both died the same way. And since I've got her name and cause of death, she wants to keep me in check. What she doesn't know is that I don't actually know her cause of death. She shouldn't know mine either. We might have died when the ship was attacked, but the actual causes weren't by drowning or from fire. In reality, the only info we have on each other is our names. Odette's just making it seem like she knows more so she can have leverage over me. Basically, this whole cooperation thing is a front so that she can get her hands on my info for when we're the last two remaining. Oh, you're positive you'll still be alive in the end?
この店にある一番いいワインを持ってきてくれ。
いいぜ、付き合ってやる。
The most important challenge of my life is about to begin. I ain't about to fail, and I certainly ain't gonna let her drink me under the table. Who cares? We end up drinking till all the wine in the restaurant is gone. Ooh, boys. Okay, what do you want me to say? No! Why would you do that to me? I just told you earlier that I have trouble with several S sounds in a row. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do it. But I'm not going to do it fast. Because I'm going to mess up anyway.
She said seashells by the seashore, but the seashells she sells are not seashells, I'm sure.
Oh, God.
She said seashells by the seashore, but the seashells she sells are not seashells, I'm sure.
Thank you for offering up your precious points for that. Amazingly enough, she pops open another bottle back at the hotel as a substitute for water. I'm not about to join her, so I go back to my room and sleep. The next morning, I notice that I have Rose card in my own book too. That was good enough. Like, I can give you the Monogatari tongue twister in ya, but I cannot do S-sound tongue twisters. Or any tongue twisters for that matter. I think there's very little I can do. Later that day, Odette gets me to start tailing him. Needless to say, this is for the sake of getting information regarding his regret. Divine Selection takes place at 12 PM on Sunday, Japanese time, so we'd be in a good spot if we managed to get all 3 pieces of info on him before then. As for why I'm tailing him on my own, well, Odette's down with the hangover. Not in the way you'd imagine though, she ain't suffering in bed, she's pissed off and screaming at everyone and everything. Can't believe she's making me second guess her usefulness just 1 day later. Ooh! That's a nice full body sprite. Not long after I start tailing him, I have to rush back to the hotel to get Odette. Rose's company was located in one of those fancy high-class buildings in the middle of Beijing City. I lost sight of him thanks to being so crowded, but I managed to learn his plans. A few minutes after entering the building, he made his way back out. Acting as someone there on official business, I asked the front desk about his schedule, to which they replied he was leaving on a business trip. They were hesitant about revealing the destination at first, but I managed to get them to reveal that he'd be staying in Taiwan for 3 days while visiting their local branch. Turns out we can hop on the same flight as him if we haul ass over to the airport. I knock on the door, fully expecting her to flip out at me. Imagine my surprise when she struts out of the room, all ready to go, luggage and all. As an aside, our phones and credit cards were perfectly intact despite our washing up ashore, so we didn't have any issue buying whatever gear we needed. Ma'am, is that allowed? I don't know where to look. Her outfit! Like I thought she'd be... That is a white outfit. She has a jacket. Yeah, that is definitely covering a lot. She worked hard for those abs. I mean, those are some real nice abs. Absolutely. She drops a bombshell on me like it's a casual greeting. The fact that she doesn't mention what she'd do with me if I failed her little test proves how twisted she is. Why do I gotta be tested in the first place? We leave the hotel after I rush to get my stuff together. Having made it on time to catch the same flight as Ro, we make our way to our hotel in Taiwan after landing. It's the same hotel he's staying in, so we choose a room far enough from his and then discuss our next move over some wine and cheese. Cheese! Cheese!
生意気にビジネスクラスに乗ってやがったからロビーで見つからなかったんだ。まあ、エコノミーじゃ出っ張った腹が邪魔だろうがな。偶然座席が余っててアップグレードできたんで到着ロビーから尾行してホテルを突き止められる。I guess if you have enough money, you can do anything.
ビジネスクラスでいい思いをしたのはあんただけな。あんたは選定の場所で顔が割れてるんだぜ。そんなこと警戒すらしてなかったみたいだ。まさか私ら選定の参加者が中国まで追ってきてるとは思ってない。
I mean, it is kind of a few ways.
平然と仕事をして暮らしているあたり、ありゃもしかしたら選定そのものを信じていない可能性もあるな。
まともな大人なら信じないだろあんなもん。俺もあんたと一緒に漂着したから信じたってもんだ。
She grins nihilistically before continuing.
自分の死を冷静に認識できてればどうして生きているって疑問が浮かぶんだけどな。そうなりゃ
I'm wondering now how his sleeves are connected. Yeah.
そんな風にぶっ飛んでんのはあんただけだ。
Yeah, that is a very good question. I guess it's hanging down the back of her arm on both sides.
なことより滞在期間気にならないか。
I grab some squares of cheese as I pose the question to her. Once I confirm that she's reacted to it, I continue.
会社で聞いた時のあいつの出張期間は2泊。だがフロントで聞いたら、問い詰めたらロはここに1泊しかしないらしい。
お前、ロに報告がいかないようにうまくやったんだろうな。
鳥もよだ。クレーマーのふりをして ロの部屋がうるさい、部屋を変えてくれってやった。そしたらフロントのやつは明日までだから我慢してくれって答えた。
That's one way to go about it.
まあ旧大点か。確かにそいつはも
Well,
う
maybe he is going
あ
somewhere
いつ
else.
は明日に台湾支社へ行って明後日には工場の視察に行く予定になっているはずだ。どちらもこのホテルからのアクセスは悪くないはずだが、まあいい。ならお前は明日も張り込みを頼む。
Actually, I would love it if you two would go somewhere where I could stop the game.
はあ？なんだ？
Oh god, he has big hands.
今日は飯だ。台湾料理はまだ食ってないからな。私は海の幸にはうるさいが
Her priorities of
地中海料理との違いを堪能してやろうぜ。
good.
ま、いずれにせよ早まってロを問い詰めたりしたら逆効果だしな。
We split the rest of the wine between us and finish off the
地
cheese.
中海はフランスのもんじゃなくイタリアのもんだ。海の幸の比較なら俺の方が適任だわな。
You Europeans are annoying as hell, both of you. The major thing I take away from yesterday's activities is that surprisingly Taiwanese food ain't half bad. Yeah, they could work on the presentation a bit, but those steamed shrimp buns were delicious. Could see myself getting hooked on those rice noodles too. Don't let me forget the spicy stuff either, adding some dobanjiang and tianmenjiang really created a perfect and rich balance between sweet and sour. Oops, that's enough of that for impressions for one day. Even though my stomach regrets eating so much last night, here I am in the hotel's parking lot early in the morning waiting for Ro. Once I see him leave in a taxi, I make sure to follow. And now I've been sitting around outside his company's building for a good part of the day. Boring as hell, but I'm used to waiting by this point. The streets of Taiwan really are an interesting sight, though. You can get a good hour's worth of entertainment from people watching. Too bad I still got another 7 hours left. After what feels like an eternity, I finally spot him leaving the building. I figure he'd make his way back by taxi too, but it looks like he's hoofing it instead. It's entirely possible that the people at the front desk told me he'd only be staying one night just to get rid of me, but the fact that he's not going straight back by taxi proves nothing. He could be going out for a meal with someone first. That much is normal for a corporate bigwig like him. As it turns out, he ends up at an Italian restaurant in town, a ristorante to be accurate. Italian restaurants are split into restaurantes, trattorias, and osterias. Restaurantes are the fanciest of the three. They are.
いい趣味してるじゃねえか。
They are. The glass paneling makes the restaurant easy to keep an eye on, so I waltz into a cafe directly across the street. It's got glass paneling as well, so there's no danger of losing track of him. We're learning a lot. Yeah! Because, like, we have... The last time I remember reading about a ristorante here, it was like a ristorante pizzeria. And that's just your regular old pizza place. I wouldn't call that high class or anything. I order an espresso and dump plenty of sugar into it. It's gonna be a struggle to make this last as long as a restaurantery, but I gotta deal with it. As far as I can tell, it seems like a real fancy joint. Looks like he's made a reservation, judging by how he gets taken to a seat by one of the staff right away. Soon after, someone takes a seat across from him. A young woman. She's wearing one of those glitzy red dresses that dirty old Jesus drool over. I'm pretty sure he's got a family, but it doesn't take much for me to catch on to what this is about. She ain't my type, but there's no denying that she's a looker. Doesn't seem like a random hostess either. Maybe it's some kind of spy. Wouldn't surprise me. Having discovered their relationship, I spend the rest of my time watching them enjoy their meal. Guess he's picked out a wine beforehand. Gotta hand it to him, red wine like that will send any woman over the moon, assuming they've got good taste. It's just a shame that he's using his bread to wipe up the leftover pasta sauce. You're gonna make that woman feel ashamed to be with you, buddy. The restaurant seems like it's more on the expensive end compared to the others around here too. Chances are he started going to these types of places more often once he hit a certain age. He has the appropriate manners, but sticking to them and also dropping old habits can prove to be tricky. Not like anyone's gonna call him out for it, considering his age and position. 3 hours... 3 hours? You eat for 3 hours in a restaurant? Oh god. 3 hours pass before they finish eating and enjoying their after-dinner espresso. I get myself ready to leave while Ro pays for the whole thing by card. Fortunately, I know exactly what the plan is after this, probably because I do the same thing. Once they leave and get into a taxi, I jump into another one and follow them. They end up making their way back to the woman's apartment, so after I confirm that I've gone inside, I return to the hotel. I don't know much about Taiwanese dogs, but some breed I've never seen before came out to greet them both when they arrived at her place. The vibe.
遅かったじゃねえか。
Okay.
まあな。
What's the dog going to matter though? She waves her hand in dismissal. Guess she wasn't able to learn anything interesting, so now she's pissed off. Meanwhile, I'm feeling pretty great because I've got my hands on some crucial info.
じゃあ情報を手に入れたのは俺だけってこと
The guy sleeps with hostesses. Is that your crucial info?
もったいぶらずにとっとと言いやがれば赤チン。
Yep, she's pissed, alright. I heave a quick sigh before explaining what I saw.
ロの野郎。真面目な顔して女と合流してやがった。
女？家族じゃないな。妻も3人の子供もまだ北京に住んでいるはずだ。
ああ、若い女だったぜ。ありゃ愛人だな。
You
ご
should...
丁寧にマンションに入るときキスをしてやがった。
I don't think it was wise for him to leave just because they went into her apartment, like...
悪趣味なやつだな。
だろ。あの太っちょ、真面目そうな顔した愛人作ってやがったんだ。犬にも懐かれてるみたいだから。
I don't trust that woman he was meeting is just a hostess.
おっと、悪趣味なのはお前だぜ。
Maybe that's just
中年
me.
男の恋事情を覗き見してんだからさ。
あんた、イラついてるからってそりゃねえぜ。ともかくだ。こいつの未練は愛人で決まりだな。
Our last two attempts were regarding his family and work, but neither caused the card to appear. It might have been because we weren't entirely certain, but a part of me felt that we just weren't on the right track. I'm confident about this one though, which is why I direct my comment to the book, expecting it to turn out a card for me. Scroll away for a bit. Did something happen? We saw the Chinese guy go out with that lady in the red dress. And now they're trying to make a card appear by saying the regret is caused by the lover. All that follows is a brief period of absolute silence, sans the sound of the air conditioning humming away in the background.
残念。読みが甘かったみたいだな。あれだけ自信満々で反応しないんだから、情報自体が間違ってるってことだろうな。
I have no comeback. All I can do is begrudgingly jam a cigarette in my mouth.
スーなら喫煙所へ行ってくれ。私はタバコの煙が嫌いなんだ。
Yeah.
やり直しかよ。おい。
Get those stinky cigarettes away from me.
She dresses me a standard grin in response.
お前にはまた尾行をしてもらおうかな。私は今度こそ
I keep looking at her abs.
好きにしてくれ。今頃ロが愛人とよろしくかよ。
I found myself eyeing Odette after saying that, but nah, I wouldn't go at it with someone like, hey, you should ask. Hey, excuse, can you why would you say that? Scumbag. I head out to have a smoke after that, a little annoyed at myself for even considering that option. Oh, God, leave. Bro. I want to read more, but I'm already going over my time. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but I need to stop here because I don't know how much longer this chapter is going to be. Oh. Oh, we can actually look at... Ah, that's interesting. Section lasts a while longer, so if you need to stop, that's fine. Okay. Name... Oh, we can actually... Wait, what? Oh, those are the cards they own. That makes sense. Oh, we don't know which cards you own, we just know you exist. Ah, interesting. A little weird to see the guy being so thin. Yeah. It's something different at least. Main menu. Go back to title. Yes. I was surprised how long the section lasts. I expected to go back to Rinka very fast. Ah, okay. Well. Oh, we don't have the extra section unlocked yet. I guess we need to finish one route or something. If there's several, I don't know. Before we can look at CGs again. But yeah, that is going to be it for tonight. I don't know. I guess I like upload a new schedule probably and fit this game onto it. And hopefully find a way to upgrade my PC to handle a game like Necrobarista, which should not be that hard to handle. To stream it. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, no, I'm a bit sad that it did not work. Like, we go from a game I'm just not good at to a game that won't work on stream to a game that is now at least working. So at least we're doing something. But that's alright. Alrighty. It was a nice stream. Someday we'll be able to see all the games. Someday, yeah. Someday soon. I will definitely put like... ask my more tech-savvy friends if they have any ideas on how I can improve this and make it work out, because this is honestly really annoying. Alrighty. Should we... We should go and raid Lottie tonight. She's playing Obey Me. That sounds like fun. We go from a visual novel to a mobile... It's not a dating game. I don't know exactly where you put Obey Me. It has demon boys. Very, very pretty demon boys. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming tonight. Also, thank you to everyone from the raid who's still here. I could have like explained who I am and what I do back when the raid was. That would have been a good idea. So hi, if you're still here, I'm new. I try to play like adventure games and visual novels and apparently platformers. Like everything that has a good story and looks nice. That's my kind of thing. My next stream is going to be on Friday, which is more of Atelier Dorona, where we are getting close to the end, I think. Can't be too much left there. But for now, I shall give you the ending screen. The ending screen. Ta-chang! And also the ending song. There we go, which has a totally different vibe. And then I give you a raid message. And I wish you all a very good night. Thank you so much for coming. It means a lot. I hope to see you all again soon. And there we go. Time to raid Lottie. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for coming. Take care, have a good night or day, wherever you are. See you soon. Bye bye.